the NAZIYAH Harris case. Could there be more missing kids involved? Salute to the chat. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to all of my moderators. Now, we've all heard that there is a sex trafficking ring going on up there in Detroit, Michigan, as well as other cities. We've learned that there were thousands of missing children reported in Michigan in the year 2024. So much that we've learned in this NAZIYAH Harris case. We all believe that it's bigger than Jarvis. We all believe that it's bigger than NAZIYAH. Well, we're going to do what we always do. We're going to backtrack. And I do believe by the time we're finished this demonstration, I do believe that we're going to be able to prove without a doubt that there are definitely more missing kids that's involved in the NAZIYAH Harris case. The rabbit hole runs deep. This case runs deep, and that's why many want us content creators to back off of this case, because they know that the content creators have been digging deep, and they know that the content creators is coming up with more information that they don't want to be exposed. But we're going to backtrack first with King, because now King, we know that King, during his testimony, the question was asked to King, do you recall about what time you guys finished the Jaguar and prepared to leave? What did King say? Right around 7:30 or somewhere around there, right? Now, if they were still at the shop, and correct me if I'm wrong, if they were still at that shop at 7:30, how did Jarvis's phone, when they pinged Jarvis's phone, how did it come up in Ypsilanti? I believe 6:30. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So we got Jarvis's phone being pinged in Ypsilanti at 6:30, but then you got King giving his testimony saying that they were still at their shop at 7:30. All right, let's check out King.
Did you ever see Mr. Bucks with any children there?
Yes.
And specifically, did you see him with any young girl children?
Yes.
And did you know who those were?
Yes.
Who were they?
His daughter, his niece.
Daughters and niece. What about any boys?
Yes.
And who?
Now, I've always felt that, because according to King, King said that his niece was up at the shop, right? Now, when King said that on the day that NAZIYAH allegedly went missing, because many of us believe that NAZIYAH was already missing before January the 9th. But notice what King said. King said that when him and Jarvis saw NAZIYAH, Jarvis said, "There go my niece." Well, King, you already knew NAZIYAH. NAZIYAH already knew you, because you even said when NAZIYAH got in the car, she spoke both to you and Jarvis, and when she spoke to y'all, she referenced y'all name. So why would Jarvis, when he see NAZIYAH, why would Jarvis say to you, that was my niece? Why wouldn't Jarvis say, that was NAZIYAH? Because you already knew NAZIYAH. King already knew NAZIYAH by NAZIYAH. So if when she gets in the truck or the car with y'all, she referenced to y'all, hey Jarvis, hey King. So why would Jarvis, when Jarvis see her on that day, why would he say, oh, that was my niece? Why wouldn't he just simply say, that was NAZIYAH? What NAZIYAH doing over there? Where you going at, NAZIYAH? Somebody make this make sense.
Who were they?
His sons.
How often would you see him with children there at Frank?
Sporadically.
And at 9,000 Connor, did you see Mr. Buss with any children then?
Yes.
Any girls?
Yes.
And who would they be?
His daughter.
And what about any boys?
Yes.
And who would they be?
His sons.
And how often would you see him with children at 9,000 Connor?
Sporadic.
And as it relates to this case, it's fair to say that you spoke with Detroit police a few times?
Yes, about 4.
About 4 times? Okay. That first time that you talked to Detroit police, do you recall about when that was?
The first time was the day before Valentine's Day, so like February 13th.
February 13th, and is that of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and at that time, were you presented with a jail call?
Yes.
Okay. And who was that jail call with?
Jarvis.
Okay. And who was he talking to?
Me.
All right. And what was the topic of that jail call?
He called to ask would I receive a cell phone out of a truck for him.
And were you familiar with what truck he was asking you to get it from?
Yes.
What truck was that?
It was a Z71 Chevy Suburban.
And did you know who that truck belonged to?
Yeah, his baby mom or somebody he was dealing with.
Okay. And do you recall listening to that jail call?
Yeah, I recall.
Okay.
Imagine car companies building your car in your driveway. Sounds crazy? Yet most homes today are still built on site with
If I would move to admit the jail call from, I believe it's February 8th, 2024, between Mr. Wright and Mr. Jarvis Bugs.
Any objection?
No objection.
What's the exhibit number on that?
Sorry, that's exhibit number 1.
It'll be admitted as if it's exhibit 1.
Thank you, Judge. And may I publish?
Yes, I mean, almost.
Thank you, Judge.
See the facial expression? Y'all see the facial expression on King? Now, we're not going to spend too much time on King, but I just wanted to point that out.
I am playing people's exhibit 1.
That's it.
This is a one-time free 3-minute call from an inmate at Woody County Jail. Your phone does not collect calls. This call has been provided by Helmet as a courtesy for friends and family. You cannot receive additional calls from this institute until you have prepaid it. We can take your credit or debit card information over the phone and connect you immediately back to your phone. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. Press 1 to accept all communications from this. Thank you for using Sounding.
Huh?
My guy, what's up, man?
Not shit, man. What's happening?
Not shit, man. How you feeling? My bad, I missed your call. I was working like a motherfucker.
I figured they said you was up there banging, said something banging.
Yeah, you know it.
What's up, my nigga? Who is that, Tim? What's up, boy? Hey, shit. Man, I'm calling, man. You bitch, they put my money on my motherfucking books, bro.
Oh, yeah, take a minute for them to put that shit on there. You could be walked in with it, man. They be playing it crazy.
Yeah, man.
I swear to God. They should have machine and shit. You sure you straight? You need something? I mean, I'm getting a couple hours for that, baby.
Yeah, I have money on my books, nigga. I came in with money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they put this shit on my hookup. I was up on the tablet. I didn't come up $0. That's some bullshit.
That shit crazy.
Yeah.
How is it, though?
Man, that's some bullshit. I'm really gonna be quarantined on this whole shit, bro.
Oh, yeah, they got you on that quarantine club for how long? 3 days?
I don't know how long, nigga. Shit, I'm about to be the only one in this bitch on my part.
You say, what happened?
I said, shit, I'm about to be the only one. Remember me and being young enough in this motherfucker, we want these boys on this bitch.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
What you need?
Huh?
No, I was asking something what that customer needs. Man, listen. You straight?
Yeah, my nigga.
Huh?
So yeah, I'm good, oh shit, yeah. You got passion number, right?
Yeah.
So Dig, I need you to call her one day, nigga, and get that truck up there, nigga. Get my phone out there back seat, bro.
So Jarvis wants that phone out of that back seat. I'm gonna let this run just a little bit more. I want to visit everybody's testimony. I want to visit everybody's testimony.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm going to get the truck up there. What will tell it?
So you fuck around and lost a car that there too when we was moving the radio
Okay.
on the seat.
You have 1 minute remaining for this call.
I had that back seat.
Yeah.
So you reach behind that back seat, bro. The box right there, straight behind the middle of that back seat, bro.
Okay, under it or in the back or in the back
In
thing?
the back, right in the back of the seat, bro.
Okay.
On the second row.
You know you took the key. You took the key to the gate.
It's the same key.
I don't got that key to it.
Yeah, you do. It's the same key to the lock at the door.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, it's the same key, bro.
Now, you know I got to. I'll put the money on the phone later, man. When I get around, baby, I will put the credit card.
I said, you get him on that. I told my wife and have her break up the tea.
No, I don't need it though. You said the same one, I got it. So I don't need it right now anyway. Just when I get the scrap out of there.
Okay.
We're gonna switch off of this. Let me grab some comments before I switch. See what we talking about down here. If I'm not mistaken, that shot wasn't big at all. So with that being said, King knowing it wasn't big, and if King was working on a vehicle, knowing Jarvis and NAZIYAH was there, he happens to look up. Correct. And Jarvis and NAZIYAH nowhere in sight. Where else would they be? King knows. My thoughts. I feel you, Shari. I'm right there with you, Shari. I feel you.
She sends PLSSS. Okay, fine with me. I was just waiting yesterday. At 16:20, she sends him a picture. At 16:20, she sends, I'm out. At 16:56, a message is received to her. It's loved in image. 16:56, she sends a message, are you busy? It is now July 5th, 0501 hours. She sends him a message that says, you was right, it hit different outside.
And were those messages deleted?
Yes.
All right, now, I'm just tuning in. Is there any new information? Yes, I don't know what information you know, LaTanya. I don't know what information you don't know. So I guess you'll just have to hang around and get the information that you aren't aware of. But there's definitely new information in this case. Now, like I said before, could there be more missing kids involved? Drop a one in the chat if you feel like that there could be more kids missing. Drop a 2 if you think that it isn't no more missing kids. And the reason why I believe that there's more missing kids involved in this case, because the investigators spoke on it. And we're going to get to it all once we come across it. But this case is so lopsided. And it's a reason why the case is lopsided, because there are more missing kids involved. I don't know who these missing kids are, but that's the purpose of us taking a deep dive into this NAZIYAH Harris case, because possibly these missing kids, possibly we can find them, because it's a lot of missing kids up there in Michigan. A lot.
And moving to July 6th.
July 6, 2023 at 03:05 hours. NAZIYAH sends to Jarvis. Yes, I can tell when you come. 03:05 hours. Why? Now at 03:20 hours, she sends him a message that says, so doesn't that mean I'm pregnant? At 03:21 hours, she sends him a message. I don't know, so I'm asking you.
Let's chop this up right here, y'all. Let's chop this up, because how do we know for sure? Let's start with this question. If NAZIYAH, if she was pregnant, how do we know for sure that it was by Jarvis? Can anybody answer that question? How do we know for sure? Has it been proven? Anybody in the chat? Anybody on the replay? Has it been proven? That's where I'm at, Nene. We don't know that. We don't know that. And I know some of y'all, Shank, Kim Worthy, she ain't going to release everything that she got. Why not? Why not? Where's the proof? Kim Worthy don't have no more in this investigation, don't know no more than what we know. Nope. I would like to know myself. Salute, Lady V, because she wasn't able to be free with anyone else. Well, she was at school. You know, she was at school. And we do know that there was an autistic man that had relations with NAZIYAH. Appreciate that super sticker, LaTanya. NAZIYAH was around King. NAZIYAH was around other males. We're so deep into this case. And we get a lot of people that is not deep into the case. And of course, you know, they make speculations and things of that nature. Well, it's because of this, Shank. It's because of that, Shank. Appreciate that super sticker, one love. But how can it be proven that Jarvis is the father of NAZIYAH's child? Because if there's no body, how can you test? Where's the baby? Where's the baby? Where's the alleged baby? Why is Jarvis only being charged with one count of unaliving? Just simple questions. Simple questions. I'm going to try to get to as many of y'all comments that I can, but unfortunately, I know I won't. Appreciate that super sticker, one love. Where's members ad? Somebody drop the members ad. Let me drop the membership ad for you. If you would like to become a member on a platform, here's the membership link. All right. Yeah, she was definitely all was petals all around her. Kim Worthless is horrible. She's still in her position because people don't vote. Shaking my head. I'm making no excuses for that lady. For real, for real. I will catch the replay for what I missed. The detectives say NAZIYAH was never recovered. Could the baby have been found and blood tests done? That's a good question, Radiant. That's a good question. But see, where's the baby? You know? Have they proved she was pregnant? Another good question. You know, salute Lady Leo. Definitely more. You know, so she had 7 kids. My fault. I thought when she did the DNA, it was with her 5. Salute Miss Belinda. I see everybody. Tony, I see you. Tracy. Breezy, yes, I believe deep in my heart, maybe it's not Jarvis, so he found out. He then hurt her, just a thought. And that could be a possibility, you know, because in the text messages, they talk about it. And, you know, there you go, Miss Belinda. Yeah, see, I'll be doing fine. I'll be doing fine until one of y'all just got to tempt Shank Rock. Y'all got to say my favorite word. Knowing when you say my favorite word, knowing I'm going to start saying my favorite word. Give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to upload something. Give me a second. This chat moving fast. See, now when I stop reading the questions from the chat, let me come back to this, man.
At 03:33, Jarvis replies to NAZIYAH, no. 03:39, she replies back, K. It now jumps to 13:10 hours. It's still on July 6th. She sends The letters GM. Then at 1400 hours, she sends, I wanna fuck. At 1425, he replies, how?
I don't, to be honest with y'all, I don't want to go back revisiting those text messages right there. My favorite word, can somebody in the chat tell Miss Martha what my favorite word is? Can somebody in the chat please tell Miss Martha what my favorite word is? I'm trying to upload Kim Worthy, y'all.
And how long has he worked on your vehicles? Was this something new, or had he worked on your vehicles previously?
I think he might have changed the oil on one of my cars a couple years back, but not that frequently.
Okay. And you knew he had did you know he had a shop that he worked out of?
Yes.
Okay. Had you been to the shop?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that there was a time prior to January 9th that he came up and worked on the car, correct?
Correct.
And you said that my client was with him that time.
Correct.
Do you recall when that was?
It had to be in the summer. I cannot recall the exact date.
But it was summer of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. And that was the first time you had seen Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Did you say anything to him that day?
Yes,
The
we
first
talked.
time?
Yes, we talked about me being a member of Zeta and that he had a cousin or somebody that was a Zeta. We all went to O'Reilly's to get some parts or something for the car.
Okay.
Stopped and got something to eat, came back, but it was very mellow, like.
So that summer of 2023, you had a fairly decent conversation with them, correct?
Correct.
And it lasted for a period of time, correct?
Correct.
So on January 9th, when you saw him, you knew who he was.
Correct.
You had recognized him because you had spent time with him, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you had the car, and you knew that he was partnered with Cordell at the shop, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So on January 9th, approximately when did you have the car towed down to his shop?
I think we had it towed maybe like the 4th or the 5th.
So it was there from the 4th, okay? And it was the 9th that they brought it back?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know approximately what time the car was brought back?
Had to be before 3:30 p.m.
There was 3.
Well, no. It had to be before 5:30 because my sister got off work at 5:30. So mid-afternoon.
Okay. But you're not sure the exact time?
I'm not sure the exact time.
Was it light or dark outside?
It was still light out.
Okay. And they came up, they pulled the Jaguar in first, the driveway.
Correct.
Right. And then Cordell's car was behind it.
I believe so.
Okay. And when they pulled up, did you see them exit the vehicles?
No.
Okay. So you don't know who was driving what?
I don't.
Okay. So at that point, they came into the house, correct?
Correct.
And did they all walk in together? Or
Yes.
Okay, so Cordell came in, followed by Jarvis, correct?
I can't tell you the exact. I don't know if NAZIYAH walked in first or if Jarvis walked in first.
Okay.
Appreciate that super chat. Jaquetta says, keep dropping them jewels, funky ass. There they go. Y'all won't leave me alone. All right. Appreciate the super sticker, Shelly. Appreciate the super chat, Nene. I wonder if the FBI looking deeper into Worthless to get her out of office. It's way too much corruption up there to overlook. I think so, Nene. I think so. I think they are.
And this young lady. And to be fair, you didn't know who she was, correct?
Not at all.
Do you recall what she was wearing when she came?
I think she had on a jacket. But I can't really.
Don't recall?
No.
Okay. Do you recall what any of them had on that day?
Not really.
Okay. So, do you recall, without going into your house, was it dark, light in your house? Were the lights on?
The lights were on.
Okay. And you have a fairly large living room?
You could remember that the lights was on. Appreciate that super sticker, Marianne. You could remember. See, they remember what they want to remember. You couldn't remember what none of them was wearing, but you could remember certain things. How is that? How is that you could remember certain things? Hey, Nene, now they know. Now, let me just say this, because y'all pushing me. Now, see, I'm trying my best not to say my favorite word. Please leave my favorite word out of the chat. It's other words that y'all could use than to use my favorite word, because y'all know once I get started, it's going to be hard for me to stop. Please stop using my favorite word in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when they came in, you said that NAZIYAH sat next to the television.
So yeah, like when you're coming in, there's like a red cabinet type thing.
Now, her funky ass remembered where NAZIYAH was sitting, but her funky ass didn't know what anybody was wearing. You knew where she was sitting, but you couldn't remember nothing that she was wearing. You couldn't remember whether she had on a jacket. You couldn't remember whether she had on a hoodie. You couldn't remember nothing that she was wearing, but you could remember where she was sitting. They all full of ish. No wonder why they want us to stop talking about this case, because we are pointing out all of they funky asses, the lies that they gave, the BS. That's why they want us to stop. I ain't buying this. I'm not buying this at all. And at first, she was one of the ones that I was believing. I ain't buying it tonight.
Red cabinet type thing. The TV sits on top of it, and then there's a chair right, like a chair sitting right next to it, and that's where she was sitting.
Okay. And when she came in, did she introduce herself?
She did not.
Okay. So she came in, sat down, right?
We offered her to see, like, came in, Cordell said hello. He was doing most of the talking. Jarvis said hello. Said, this is my niece. Then was like, y'all have a seat.
Okay.
Cordell sat on the couch. There's a couch this way, and then a long couch this way.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I was just gonna say, I believe that they were both on this couch. NAZIYAH was in the chair, and me and my mom were on the longer couch.
So your mom was there?
Yeah.
Correct? All right. And you all were conversing, correct?
Correct.
And it's fair to say that you weren't conversing with NAZIYAH, correct?
No.
You were conversing with Jarvis. I'm sorry, you were conversing with Cordell.
Cordell and Jarvis about the car and the invoice that they brought.
All right.
See, this is what gets me about these women. Okay. And Tudor, right, let me grab Tudor because I'm going to build with Tudor. Ain't no way I see one-minded child with two grown-ass men and I'm not watching or paying attention to what's what. Exactly. Now, it never dawned on you to even talk to her. You never even asked her, hey, would you like anything to drink? Hey, what's your name? Hey, how was your day? You see this little kid with these grown men, and it never dawned on you to ask this little girl how she was doing. You are a woman. You already know that these two is up to no good anyway. I'm not buying it. I see you, Miss Minnie. I see you, Miss Minnie. I'm just, and see, it makes the good women, look bad because people start to judging all women the same. But that's not the case. Because I know all of you down there in the chat, I know that if it was you, if it was any of y'all in that situation, and NAZIYAH would have came with those two men, I know that y'all would have had some kind of conversation with NAZIYAH. She's a little girl. She's a little girl. You don't bother to ask her nothing. Right, Dre. And she couldn't see that she was pregnant. That should have been more reason why they should have been conversating with NAZIYAH if she was pregnant. See, this whole case, when you go to the left, when you go to the right, when you go deeper down a rabbit hole, you start to see this and you be like, hold up, wait a minute now. It's BS. Everything about this case, even down to the day that she went missing. And then how do the school police, how do they don't involve the Detroit Police Department until 30 days later? How did Miss Annette, how did she go 30 days without involving the Detroit Police Department? But they want us to stop.
And you said at some point your son came up and was talking with NAZIYAH?
Correct.
Okay. And how long did this conversation last?
Like all of our conversation?
Right. How long were they there?
Probably between like 30, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe an hour.
Once again, you could remember how long the conversation was going on, but you couldn't remember what NAZIYAH was wearing. It's BS. The judge even knows that it's BS. She knows it's all BS.
And while they were there, you didn't notice anything, and I think you already mentioned this, you didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, correct?
Correct.
Did you see Jarvis Butts conversing with NAZIYAH Harris?
No.
So they didn't have any conversation?
No.
Okay. And you didn't notice anything awkward or out of the ordinary between the two?
Correct.
Okay.
I didn't notice anything.
So after about an hour, they left.
Correct.
Was it light or dark?
It was still fairly light.
All right. And they got into Cordell's car, correct?
Correct.
You don't remember the scene, I think you've already
No,
said
I do
that.
not.
But was Cordell driving?
Correct.
Okay. So that day you didn't think anything out of the ordinary happened, correct?
Correct.
And at some point you were contacted, correct?
Correct.
When were you contacted?
Well, we were contacted by Cordell the next day because when we paid the invoice, it was $70 short. So we had to give Jarvis's cash app to send the rest of the money. So that was the last part of the conversation. And then the detectives came, I want to say the end of March,
So the end of March. So
I believe. I don't know the exact day, but it was at least a month or two later.
and it was when the detectives came, is when you found out that the person that was in your house was NAZIYAH Harris, correct?
Correct.
All right.
I ain't buying
And
that.
did they tell you?
I'm not, let me back because I could be rushing things. Appreciate that super sticker, Chris. Why is it nobody knew who NAZIYAH was? Come on, I ain't buying it. Let me. I might be jumping the gun. Let me backtrack.
The detectives came is when you found out that the person that was in your house was NAZIYAH Harris, correct?
Correct.
All right. And did they tell you that this person was NAZIYAH Harris?
They asked me if I knew who she was, and they asked me if I knew who Cordell was. They showed me a picture of Mr. Butts. They asked me if I knew who all these people were. And they asked me if I knew her name, and I did not know her name at that time.
Okay. And they told you her name?
Honestly.
See, and if okay, you didn't know who she was. Now he said so. They told you her name. Well, honestly, who told you that this was NAZIYAH? And when the detectives came, the detectives never mentioned NAZIYAH's name to you. Let me see what we got going on. Let me backtrack this, y'all.
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. And at any point, did you look up why they were there or look up any information about this case?
Yeah, after they left.
After they left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what did you look up?
Objection, relevance.
I just want to see where her information came from.
As long as the results of what she looked up.
I want to see the information that she had that go into her testimony.
Go ahead.
There's obviously there's podcasts out that are a bit unfavorable.
It's not obvious. I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. Okay. What did you look up?
I looked up Mr. Butt's Otis record.
Okay.
But I tried to type in his name, I typed in Cordell's name, tried to see if anything came up at that.
So let's backtrack, and y'all gonna have to help me out with this. All right. Now, allegedly, NAZIYAH goes missing January the 9th, right? When did Marquita and Shannon and them start posting the missing posters of NAZIYAH? I believe that Marquita said that they reached out to Jarvis, I believe January the 11th. Correct me if I'm wrong, all right? Because according to her, she don't know nothing. She don't know nothing until the detectives come and confront her, right? Now, let me find out when did Somebody let me know when, because I don't want to jump. I don't want to jump. When did Marquita and Shannon and them start posting the posters? Because we got to remember, DPD don't get involved until 30 days later. Okay, they didn't hand a post, in my opinion. Okay, February. Now, was it after? Because I'm just trying to figure out if she went missing January the 9th. Miss Annette, Shannon, Marquita and them, nobody does nothing. I don't believe her right now. They all liars. I would have been all in her business. It wouldn't seem right now to be introduced, to not know her name, and to not pay enough attention to see she's pregnant. Our people watch. Dre said he wondered why they didn't want to hang the posters. Shannon texted Jarvis on January 11th to ask him to post NAZIYAH was missing on social media. Bingo. Bingo. So now she right there. Now you had to this. All right, Joe. All right. I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna slow down. It was before Jarvis turned himself in. Facts. Would you look for something, you know where it's at? Facts. A month later, they didn't give too good, you know what, where she was. I think she went missing into the holidays. The Oompa Loompa twins said they were posting flyers and people were taking them down. They said after. Okay. The sun set in Detroit on January the 9th at 5:19 p.m. And according to her, as well as the others, it was still light outside. In my opinion, it didn't happen on the day that they said it happened. It didn't even happen on the time. At the time, because even that picture of NAZIYAH getting off the bus and that picture of her walking, many of us believe that that's not even NAZIYAH. I live here and I knew nothing until February on Instagram and the news. Okay, appreciate that, Shelly. Take your time. How can Annette and Shannon go to sleep knowing that NAZIYAH was not at home? Two worthless pieces of crap. I don't believe people were taking them down. I don't believe they were taking them down either, Talonda. Why would they take them down? You know what I mean? Why would they take them down? Oh, we was putting up these flyers. Why would people take down flyers of a missing little girl? Why? See, they didn't even tell Roxy in Kenya till a few weeks. Exactly. Why? Because Roxy in Kenya would have been boots on ground right then and there as soon as they told them, as soon as they told them they had boots on ground. Salute, Legacy. If you would like to support the channel, my cash app is $ERICMCINT, or I do have a PayPal, Shank Rock, or you could grab a super sticker, membership, or a super chat. That's not NAZIYAH. Was a grown woman walking. Why was she the only one getting off the bus? Weren't there any other kids riding the bus? Exactly. Somebody got to make it make sense. They never put them up because they knew what happened, in my opinion, because I couldn't sleep at all. They knew what happened, right, Mr. Shank? That's what they said. They knew what happened. They wouldn't, them, you know what, was just lying, flabby hoes. Nobody would do that here. That's a lie. Exactly. A missing child, why would they take them down? Why did it take for 6 p.m. on January 9th to realize to ask that NAZIYAH come home? Facts. from 3 to 6. And the kids, according to Marquita, the kids had to mention to them. Come on, you can't make this up. I don't think they posted anything because they already said Jarvis nasty. You know what? Butts was a problem. They didn't want people to know. Exactly. I bet you King gave her a heads up being slow. NAZIYAH was in her house. Exactly. You're not even going to ask King. Come on, man. Come on. Women. One thing I know about women. Women are nosy as hell. Y'all funky ass women are nosy as hell. Can I get the chat to say amen? I ain't met a woman that ain't nosy, and I ain't met a woman that at times ain't a funky ass. Y'all are some funky ass, nosy ass creatures. Yes or no? I ain't buying it. I'm not buying her, and I'm not buying Jarvis's sister. Oh, I asked Jarvis, who's the girl? Jarvis said that, that's King's niece. And your funky ass stopped at that. Hell to the nah. I'm going to say it again and I'm going to move on. Women are nosy as hell. Turn to your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I know your funky ass is nosy. I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it. Flabby's 304s, correct, Kenyatta. By that time, it would have been dark. Dre said the other church didn't go, other didn't go to school that day. Women are naturally detectives. Amen. And that's what I'm saying. We just got to get the whole story. You're nosy, Milky Way girl. But I like how you tried to flip it. And that's another thing about y'all funky ass women. When y'all funky asses get caught, y'all funky asses always flipping some shit like y'all making pancakes. Oh, yeah. Really, Shank? Come on now. Hey, look at Martha. I'm nosy. I'm going to ask someone what's up. Yeah, there. I like that, Martha. Martha taking accountability. Nene taking accountability. Yes, we know. Capricorn Chronicle says, amen. Because I'll hold my breath to hear a conversation on my phone. Oh, yeah. Tudor for real, King put her on. But we aren't funky asses. Y'all started it, Nisi. I told y'all to leave me alone with my favorite word. Y'all started it. When my kids' friend come to my house, I talk to them. I ask them their parents' name and where they live at. Whoop, there it is. So y'all can miss me with all of that. Oh, we only said this to her. Oh, we only said that to her. I never once saw a flyer about NAZIYAH. Thank you, Miss Minnie. And don't you get caught doing nothing with your funky ass. We were taught by our elders, or should I say the village. Yeah. Tell me twice. I don't understand why the prosecutors didn't ask why they didn't look, being it was the middle of winter. Exactly. I see you, Queen. Y'all got me on one. The gas stations, liquor stores, and grocery stores here will let you post up any kind of flyers, especially missing kids. Facts. That's facts. And I don't know why Sunshine's funky ass is throwing tacos. You throw hot dogs up here, Sunshine, and the rest of y'all. Y'all take them tacos over there and over there. But over here, we throw hot dogs up. Sunshine, I thought you was cool. Sunshine. I know I am nosy as hell. I call it being inquisitive. Why you hit me with that big word, Alicia? See, y'all be thinking y'all slick. Why you hit me with that big word, Alicia? Knowing I can't pronounce. It's hard sometimes for me to pronounce 5-letter words with my funky ass. And now your funky ass Alicia gonna hit me with that long ass word to try to pronounce. Y'all won't do right to save the world. I see you, Survivor Speaks. Appreciate you for pulling up. But I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Now, these women around, and y'all don't ask questions, y'all don't report nothing, y'all just play dumb. Nah. But let's finish listening to some more of this. She only knows what she want to know, and she only repeats what she want to repeats. I try to tell her, Miss Minnie, I tried to tell those funky asses, leave me alone. But they had to start it. But let's listen to some more.
At the time, there wasn't anything posted, but I didn't find much, other than his record.
Okay. Just one more thing. No further questions.
We need redirect.
Yeah, very brief. Ms. Moore, Mr. Reagans was just asking you about information that you looked up and things like that. When the police were at your house, though, when the detectives were at your house, first, do you know if those were Detroit police officers?
Yes, Detroit police
Detectives, okay. And
sure.
You said that they showed you a picture of, in court, you said NAZIYAH, right?
Say it one more time.
They showed you a picture of NAZIYAH at that time, correct?
Correct.
Did you identify that picture when the police were there as NAZIYAH Harris? Did you say her name?
No, I said that's the mechanic's niece.
So just to be clear, you identified her as the girl that was at your house.
Correct.
With the defendant, Jarvis Fox.
Correct.
Oh. And that was before you had looked up any information?
Correct, because I didn't know anything until the detectives came to the house.
And while NAZIYAH and Jarvis and Cordell were at your house, you said NAZIYAH was sitting next to the TV?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And did NAZIYAH, during that 30 minutes to an hour, ever get up and leave, use the restroom or anything like that?
No.
And you mentioned earlier that Cordell was on a tether and that's the reason he had to leave, right?
Correct.
Do you know what Cordell's tether hours were at that time? Like what time he had to be back home by?
I don't know.
Oh. How far of a drive is it from Detroit to Ypsilanti?
Probably about 40 minutes.
And what was the reason that Cordell had to leave again?
Because he said he had to be back in the house for his tether.
Okay, so did it seem like he was in a little bit of a rush to get back, or he was cutting it close maybe with that drive, 40 minutes?
No, I think he had whatever he needed to do, and he just wanted to make sure he was in the city on time.
But is it fair to say that he would have left somewhat closer to his cutoff time? If that's the reason he left, or that he said?
Yeah,
I
think that calls for speculation on her part.
I was going to say, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Do you want to respond?
If she knows, I think it's a close call.
If you know the answer.
I don't. I don't know. I can't say.
I have nothing further to say.
Okay, you are done testifying.
Thank you.
Watch.
Ask Jarvis who handing you. It's marked as people's exhibits. So you were kind of parked. Tell me about that. What makes you believe that you saw NAZIYAH on the day she went missing?
Where do you want me to start? It's a lot.
So from the very beginning, where is it that you think you saw NAZIYAH?
At the shop on Harbor and Commerce.
Okay, and whose shop is that?
My brother Jarvis Butts and his partner.
Okay. What's the reason you were at your brother's shop that day?
Something was wrong with the car that I was driving, and I just needed him to check it out to make sure it was safe for me to drive.
Okay. Do you recall about what time did you go to Jarvis's shop that day?
About 4 p.m., give or take a few minutes.
Okay, and around what time did you leave?
Somewhere between 6 and 6:30.
Okay. And what is it that you noticed while you were at the shop?
All right, let's backtrack. So she left between 6 and 6:30, right? Right? When did Jarvis and King and NAZIYAH go to drop off the truck? Because according to King, when they asked the question about, do you recall about what time you guys finished the Jaguar and prepared to leave? He said 7:30, right? King said 7:30. Now, I believe King's son aunt said when they got to her, I believe she said it was 5:30 and she said it was daytime. Right? Somebody help me out with this. 6:30 plus had to take the jack back. His son aunt said 5:30. Survivor Speak says the sister is sedated. If they were both going to use the bathroom, why did they go separate ways in the gas station? I mean, you can't make this ish up, y'all. You can't make it up. And every time when we are about to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, every time we're about to say they cool, whoop-de-woo-woo-woo, then they always, when you backtrack, I'll backtrack this, man, I will, Capricorn Chronicles know, Tony King, yeah, we will backtrack. We backtracked the Shanquilla Robinson case for 2 years straight. We backtracked that that NAZIYAH Wiggins video about 100 times. I'll backtrack and backtrack and backtrack. Taj says, that's why I say all the time, they are guilty in some way. And JoJo says, watch her body language and attitude when she being questioned. Salute, JoJo. And we peeped that on the last time. Like, watch how she get irritated at some things. And, you know, you be feeling sorry for her, but then they going to ask her one question. They going to ask her one question, and she going to smile. She going to catch herself. Because she realized, oh, snap, I'm caught. And then she'll smile. You can't make this ish up.
So it's two car, like garage. So I was sitting outside of the shop in my car because they were working on another car on the inside. As I sat there for the time that I was there, I kept seeing a little girl get in and out of his truck, going to the gas station and going back to his car.
Okay, so I'm gonna
And she looked like she nosy as hell. Hey, look now. See, when it comes to females, it's in y'all nature to be nosy. But some of y'all females go the extra mile in being nosy. And she looked like she nosy as hell. Some of y'all look nosy as hell, by the way. You know what I mean? But she looks nosy as hell. That's why she asked Jarvis, who's the girl? Who is she? Let me backtrack for you, Capricorn. Let me backtrack for you.
And his partner.
Okay. What's the reason you were at your brother's shop that day?
Something was wrong with the car that I was driving, and I just needed him to check it out to make sure. Shop on Hopper Encounters. I don't. Yes.
And how is it that you know him?
He's my brother.
Okay. And how old is Jarvis Butts?
42.
And do you know his birthday?
Yes.
When's his birthday?
November 21st, 1982.
And do you see Jarvis Butts in the courtroom today?
I saw him walking in.
Okay. And can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
He has on, I believe it's dark green shirt. He's sitting behind the lady to the side of you.
And you're under the record reflected when it says identified the defendant in this case?
So reflected. And just to be clear, you said I saw him walking in. You saw him when you were walking in or when he was walking in?
When I was walking in just now.
Thank you.
And Ms. Butts, where did you know Jarvis to work?
He worked at a shop on Warren and Neff, called Frank's, and then he moved to a shop on Hopper Encounters. I don't know the name of it.
And Ms. Butts, do you remember talking to Detroit police back on February 26, 2024?
Yes.
And what's the reason that you went and talked to Detroit police?
I had reason to believe that I saw NAZIYAH the day she went missing.
Okay. Tell me about that. What makes you believe that you saw NAZIYAH on the day she went missing?
Where do you want me to start this a lot?
So from the very beginning, where is it that you think you saw NAZIYAH?
At the shop on Harbor Encounters.
Okay, and whose shop is that?
My brother Jarvis Butts and his partner.
Okay. What's the reason you were at your brother's shop that day?
Something was wrong with the car that I was driving, and I just needed him to check it out to make sure it was safe for me to drive.
Okay. Do you recall about what time did you go to Jarvis's shop that day?
About 4 p.m., give or take a few minutes.
Okay, and around what time did you leave?
Somewhere between 6 and 6:30.
Okay. And what is it that you noticed while you were at the shop?
So it's a two car, like garage. So I was sitting outside of the shop in my car because they're working on another car on the inside. As I sat there for the time that I was there, I kept seeing a little girl get in and out of his truck, going to the gas station and going back to his car.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right there. Whose car are we talking about?
My brother.
Okay, and what kind of car was it?
Believe the Cadillac Escalade.
Okay, do you remember what color?
Kind of like a pearl white, off white cream color.
Okay, and you said you described this as like a two garage shop?
Yes.
Okay, and I want to approach with people's exhibit 7.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Books, do you recognize what is it we're looking at in people's exhibit 7?
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
That is the shop.
Okay.
Right in the middle.
And where at were you parked when you saw someone getting in and out of Jarvis's truck?
In front of the car doors of the garage right here. I was parked facing, I don't know what direction it is, but going towards garage. I was like in front, but outside.
Okay, so you were kind of parked parallel with the road?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you draw a T where your truck was?
My car?
Yeah, your car was.
Yeah.
Yes. And then put an arrow the way you were facing. And where is it where that Jarvis's truck was? Just put a J where Jarvis's truck was. And what way was his truck facing?
It was facing my direction, so the front was
Towards you. Okay, so put an arrow for that direction. Okay. Now, do you get a look at this little girl that you see getting in and out of his car?
I saw her, as she was walking. I never saw her face.
Did you see any clothing?
I did.
Okay. Did anything about the clothing stick out to you that you remember?
I just remember her having on a colorful jacket.
Okay. And what door, which side do you remember seeing her getting in and out of Jarvis's truck? Or did it change?
I don't really remember.
Okay, that's okay. So you said you mostly remember a jacket, a colorful jacket.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you what's marked as People's Exhibit 2, which is already admitted, and People's Proposed Exhibit 10. You understand my approach?
Yes.
Handing you what's marked as People's Exhibits 2 and 10. Okay. Do you recognize anything in those photos?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
What is it that you recognize?
Right here, this jacket.
And for the record, you're pointing up in channel 1, and you recognize this like pink colorful jacket?
Yes.
Okay. And that's in People's Exhibit 10? Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 10 as Exhibit 10. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the jacket that you saw that day?
Yes.
I move for the proposed People's Exhibit 10.
Any objection?
No objection.
Okay, it'll be admitted as People's Exhibit 10.
Okay. And in People's 2, is that also, where is the what you recognize People's Exhibit 2?
It looks like channel 2 here, maybe.
Okay, facing the back?
Yeah.
Okay. And you recognize the jacket in this photo too, right? Yes.
It's a little blurry, but it looks the same.
Okay. And what about in channel 1 of Exhibit 2?
It would be this one right here.
Okay, and it's fair to say that's the back of a jacket? It seems to be the back of a jacket? Okay, thank you. And you said that you saw this little girl with this jacket on getting in and out and going into the gas station?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know who this little girl was at the time?
No.
Okay. Is there a time that you ever get out of your car?
Yes.
And what do you do?
I needed to use the restroom, so I asked his partner if I could use the restroom. He told me to go and tell him in the gas station. And as I was walking towards the gas station, she was walking in front of me going into the gas station.
Okay. So about how far in front of you was she?
I would say maybe where the gentleman in the gray blazer is behind you. Maybe a little bit farther, I'm not really sure about that distance.
From where you are to him?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, boy, I'm really bad at estimates.
20, 25 feet.
Yeah, I would agree with about 20, 25 feet. And you said you never got a chance to see this little girl's face.
No.
Was there anything else about her that you can remember?
I just remember her being kind of small, like outside of just seeing her get in and out of the car. When I was walking towards her, I was like, she's tiny, and I just remembered the coat.
Now, was NAZIYAH pregnant? How far was NAZIYAH pregnant? She stated, and this is the day of her alleged disappearance, January the 9th. She stated the only thing that she noticed about NAZIYAH was that she was small. For surely, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, for surely, if she was pregnant, some people say that she was showing. For surely, she would have noticed that she was pregnant. What's really good? It seems like when you listen to him, you gotta really question and say, was they a part of the play? You know, now it's just a coincidence. The time that NAZIYAH is walking to the gas station, you just so happenly go in, you gotta use the bathroom. So now you're behind her walking to the gas station. You wanted to know exactly what was going on. Kenyatta says, I think NAZIYAH was 5 to 6 months pregnant, in my opinion. So if you were behind her, what did she do in the store? And was she back in the truck already when you came out the gas station? And that place is small. Not necessarily. It was cold outside. That coat NAZIYAH had on was one of those puff coats. Okay. And I'll take that, Miss Minnie. Now, the question is, what was NAZIYAH wearing? Was she wearing the colorful jacket? Was she wearing that black hooded jacket or sweater that they are using as evidence? Exactly what was she wearing? Which one of the jackets, the coats, was she wearing? Why wasn't nobody in the gas station ever interviewed or questioned? Good point. I'm not going to lie. I have a friend who was pregnant, and in any look couldn't tell she was pregnant from behind, but I just don't believe she wasn't being nosy. I'll take that, Capricorn. So it's a possibility that she couldn't have not noticed her being pregnant. Possibility. But why? Why didn't she put on her Sherlock Holmes cap? I believe that black jacket was under the coat. Okay, I'll take that. NAZIYAH was wearing what Annette said she had on, in my opinion, because you got all these different descriptions of what NAZIYAH was wearing, right? You got the uniform. She was wearing the uniform, but then you got the pink onesie. Maybe she changed, you know, who knows? Erlene says she was observing NAZIYAH for a reason, because why would he have you waiting until he got a chance to look at your car, but don't know when? Exactly. She could have been wearing the hoodie under the coat. No, the black jacket was Jarvis' jacket. Miss Minnie, I was thinking that as well. And if you don't know her, you wouldn't know that's not what her face would normally look like. The school should have noticed if she was pregnant, if she was actually going to school. I'll be wondering if the 7 women knew Jarvis was a petty. I believe they all knew Jarvis get down. Women know what type of man you dealing with. Most. Let me backtrack. Not all. Not all. All women don't know. But most women. And out of 7, you mean to tell me out of 7, none of them knew? None of these knew his get down? And one thing we know about the streets talk. So nobody was telling y'all, yo, what you doing with him? Yo, you know his get down? You know he was locked up for this, he was locked up for that. That wasn't hers. Nobody heard Jarvis say he had a black jacket in the truck. She definitely wasn't wearing what Annette said. There was no blue coat with a black fur in the video or in her last pic of NAZIYAH. She had the jacket on. In the picture, it's not Jarvis's jacket. Them eyelashes scare me, OMG. I think that black hoodie was Jarvis too, because Annette said NAZIYAH hoodie was blue. Where is her gym teacher? Because she said she couldn't perform in gym because of her stomach. Right. Mika says everybody knew. That picture gives me nightmare. Yeah. But you mean to tell me none of them knew? None of them knew Jarvis's get down. The pink onesie bodysuit would have most likely been under her clothes like a thermal layer. It was January. It's Detroit, y'all. Cold as you know what. Like you said, women pay attention. I knew when my son had someone pregnant. His face was fat, so I can definitely tell when a child is pregnant. Exactly. You know, that last picture was the right picture. They lied about that was her last picture. I mean, and even with us men, now we don't please, Shank. I just ate laughing get them fish up. Now that's what I'm gonna do when y'all say whenever y'all put my favorite word in that chat as a punishment, I'm gonna show them pictures. How about that? So next time y'all better think before y'all put my favorite word down there in that chat. Because if y'all don't, y'all punishment is going to be this. So remember that. First of all, that pic of NAZIYAH is so old, it's ridiculous. That lady on the left looks spooky. Shank, we need to find out who is the third person DNA on the jacket with your funky ass. Blame Tony King for this picture, y'all. I want everybody to blame Tony King for this picture with her funky ass. How about that? With your funky ass, Tony King. That's torture, Shank. Don't do that. Blame Tony King. The pink bodysuit was a small, too little for a prego belly. I'm smaller than NAZIYAH, so for real, that size don't sit with me. Salute, Q. Salute, Q. That first one is very questionable. Now that is torture, Shank. Blame Tony. Blame Tony with her funky ass. Oh, hell no. Big Shay Shay. Jarvis told her he took her panties. He had other clothes of hers and others. And that's a good point, Mika. That's a good point. Salute, Nikki. Blame Nikki. Blame Tony and Nikki for this picture. I told y'all don't say my favorite word. Yeah, I don't know how many times he reused those lashes. Please don't show those pictures, especially a granny. Seriously, spiritually looking, that lady looks like a witch. Well, y'all better start using my favorite word. You trying to give me nightmares. Them dead caterpillars on her eyes. That is Betty Boop and Eggplant, Shrek and Dumb and Dumber. She is a spook. There are two different timelines in this part of the story. But get this, between Jarvis' sister, King, and the son auntie's timeline, and that guy home at 6 asking about NAZIYAH's whereabouts. Good point, Mel. See, Lady Leo, look at Shannon funky ass. See, Lady Leo. So blame Lady Leo, blame Tony, blame all of y'all funky asses for this picture up here. I said, don't say my favorite word. But you mean to tell me out of all of them, none of them suspected, none of them knew about Jarvis's get down? Shelly, for real, no one was suspicious of those girls up there. Exactly. When you know Jarvis's report card, you know all the SOs that Jarvis got on his report card. His sister, you know his get down. They all knew. Terrible. Shannon looks like Norbert's wife on that picture. They all knew. They all funky, you know what, to be honest. Now, that go John Tay. That go John Tay. She is the one that started Jarvis to thinking he is the finest thing in Detroit. All of them knew. Nobody caught NAZIYAH to see where she was. Facts, sunshine. Facts. So they ain't even bother to call her. They ain't even bother to text her. They ain't even bother to reach out to Jarvis. Have you seen Tudor? Have you seen Glamorous? Yeah, right.
Okay. Tiny, like in what way? Like tiny, skinny, short?
Kind of skinny and short.
Okay. And did you ever ask Jarvis who the little girl was?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
He told me, and I can't remember if it was this exact word or he said it's my partner's niece, or he said it was King's niece.
Okay, but you knew who he was referring to?
Yes.
Okay. Did you think anything of it at the time?
No.
Okay. And what is it that made you think something? Was there a time where you thought something different?
Yes.
Okay, and what is it that made you think something different?
I received phone call, a video call from one of his kids' mom, and she told me about some things that happened on Valentine's Day, and then she sent me a video of a podcast.
So that's when you get suspicious. After the podcast, after the picture, after that, now you getting suspicious. But you don't get suspicious in the very beginning when you actually see her in and out of this truck, in and out of the car. Simbo says the picture that the prosecutor just showed the sister was not NAZIYAH. That's why she asked her if she know what she looked like. She showed her the wrong picture on purpose, and that lady confirmed it. Salute, April. Well, Annette admitted to doing nothing, looking for NAZIYAH in her testimony. Mel says, what if they are the ring? That's deep, Mel. That's deep. What if they are the ring? Wow. Never looked at it like that, Mel. Two dudes always working with one another. Don't know about the other one. Yeah, okay. Don't forget, Shannon said she called and he didn't answer. Then she texted him and said, still no tutor. He never answered. How would he know she was missing to begin with if he didn't answer the call? Exactly. Y'all content creators did the work. Them police cared less. How are they showing y'all videos doing questioning? Just sad. Mel, that's what it looks like.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Watch your step, please. Have a seat.
You want to speak into this mic, you can also pick it up and hold your lap.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Ripley.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. Could you please state your name for the record?
Shannon Harris,
And Ms. Harris, how old are you?
31.
And back on January, or in January 2024, where did you live?
But my mom resides with my mother,
With your mother? Okay, who's your mom?
Annette Harris,
And without telling me the exact address, what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And do you have any children?
Yes,
How many kids do you have?
5.
And do all your kids have the same dad?
Yes,
Who's their dad?
Jarvis Butts.
And do you see Jarvis Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes,
And can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
green, blue, whatever. Green.
Green. Your Honor, would the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant in this case?
So reflected.
Thank you, Judge. And you said your mom's name is Annette. Do you have any sisters?
Yes, 2.
What are their names?
Kenyatta Harris and Marquita Harris.
Are they older, younger, something else?
Oh, there. Marquita is a twin. She's my twin, same age.
And Kenyatta's older?
Yes,
Do you have any nieces or nephews?
yes,
Do you know someone named NAZIYAH Harris?
yes.
What's your relationship to her?
My relationship to her, she is my niece. I'm her aunt.
Okay. And whose daughter is she?
My older sister is Kenyatta Harris.
And did you have any nicknames for NAZIYAH?
Yes, we all called her Tuh.
And is that Tudda?
Yes,
And did NAZIYAH ever know Jarvis through you?
yes.
And when did NAZIYAH and Jarvis first meet?
When she was little, like age 2.
And can you kind of describe the relationship between NAZIYAH and Jarvis?
Should be just the uncle and the niece relationship, no more than that.
How often?
And remember, we broke that down. This was the first lie. Well, one of the first lies that Shannon said. Because when it gets to those text messages, it's going to be a different story from Shannon.
How often would Jarvis be around, like at your house with you?
He will call or say, can he come see the kids? Or the kids will ask, can he see their dad? And he will come pull up either to my house where I used to live or at my mother's house.
Would NAZIYAH ever be around?
All the kids will be around.
To your knowledge, would NAZIYAH ever text Jarvis?
From my knowledge, no, unless I will have her to text.
But to your knowledge, you didn't know of any kind of separate outside relationship?
No.
Now watch it come back to bite up in the you know what. Appreciate that super chat, Survivor Speaks. Shannon looks like she going to church at the neck, to the club on the bottom, and the rodeo at the feet. Thanks, John Tay, for putting in the chat my favorite word. So let me finish giving y'all punishment. So, but you're right, Survivor. So, I mean, which one is it, Shannon? Which one is it?
Would there ever be times where, where did you know Jarvis loves to work?
Pardon?
Where did you know Jarvis loves to work?
Where did I know him to work at?
Yes.
He worked at 2 different locations. The first location would be on East Warren, and the other location would be on Gratiot and Connor.
And what were those locations?
Those are the auto repair shop.
Okay. Would you ever know NAZIYAH to help Jarvis Butts at his shop?
Yes, he will call me and say, hey, if I can get our daughter and NAZIYAH come and work up at the shop. And I would say, let me ask my mom first regarding NAZIYAH.
And which daughter of yours would that be?
That would be my oldest, Janiyah.
Would you ever know NAZIYAH to go to Jarvis's shop alone?
No.
So, okay. Now I get it. You say you had to ask your mother about NAZIYAH going up there, but you still allow your daughter to go up there. Your daughter was up there working, right? What if all of them, Shannon, Miss Annette, what if all of them are the ring? What if it's the ring that we keep talking about? What if it's them?
Whose birthday is on or around September 26th?
That's my my 4th oldest birthday.
Do you recall a birthday party on September 26th of 2022?
Yes.
Okay. And was Jarvis there?
No.
Okay. And that would have been his son's birthday party?
Yes.
All right. Now, many believe that this birthday party is different from this birthday party, but let's look at it. Let's look at it. I took that one down. Give me a minute, y'all. I'm coming, y'all.
Low all day long. Now hit your ass up. From the time I hit the flow all day long. Nana, mama. That's all. That's why I said my Hey, who down there? Here, get this to whoever's closest to my room. Tell them to take that to my room. Whoever's the closest. Take it to my room. Huh?
Yeah, that purse heavy, Shani. You have that. That purse heavy.
I know, right? You stop. You stop. I'm what? You all day. Hey,
She
been heavy for years. She heavy for years. She a 4-5 minute.
5 over there.
A 4 and a 5.
1, 2, 3, go.
What I used to.
Happy birthday to you.
Come on, y'all.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Porter. Come on. Happy birthday to you. Now, come on, let's jazz it up a little bit. Because it's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Just get on down. Just get on down. It's your birthday. How old are you? Come on. How old are you? You don't say come on. I'm 9 years old.
You gotta close your eyes, make a wish first, then you blow your cat.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Woo! Yeah.
Happy birthday to Porter. How old are you now? 9 years old.
Well, he's officially still 8
Happy
Actually,
birthday.
Tuesday.
Happy birthday. Hey, Jarvista. He'll be out of town. Come on.
Daddy, it's fucking birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, dog.
Daddy wants in my shoes, man.
Come on, sweetheart. Say thank you.
Thanks, man.
Y'all come on down this way.
Hey, Z, Daddy, look at my
Hello. Dale, come on around a little bit. Where's the chair? Come on, birthday boy. Why don't you go over there? Let me back. So what you do? You just come back, fly in, fly out?
I missed her birthday. I was trying to get there, but
I thought you were supposed to be part of the family.
And there you have Miss Annette broke her neck to get to Jarvis. I thought you was supposed to have been a part of the family. So you're going to keep doing this? But on the stand, Jarvis don't come in. Jarvis hardly ever comes in. Well, maybe I guess this was one of those times. I see you, Mysterious. Maybe this was one of those times when he came in. But y'all can see how the temperature in the whole room changed. Y'all can see how it shifted. Now I'm gonna run it back. Because for some of y'all, this is y'all first time actually seeing this. But she flew to Jarvis. This is the infamous video. Now, was this the party that they just spoke about when they questioned Shannon?
Get your ass up. From the time I hit the floor all day long, nana, mama. That's all this why I said. Okay, who down there? Here, get this to whoever's closest to my room. Tell them to take that to my room. Whoever's the closest. Take it to my room. Huh?
That purse heavy, Shannon. You have that. That purse heavy.
I know, right? You stop. You stop. You know what? You all day. She had been heavy for years. She heavy for years. She had a 4-5 minute.
5 up in there.
A 4 and a 5.
1, 2, 3, go.
What I used to.
Happy birthday to you.
Come on, y'all.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jordan.
Come on. Happy birthday to you. Now come on, let's jazz it up a little bit. Because it's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. Just get on down. Just get on down. It's your birthday. How old are you? Come on. How old are you? Come on. I'm 9 years old.
You gotta close your eyes, make a wish first, and then you blow your candle.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
Ready to
to
go out?
you.
Ooh. Yeah.
Happy birthday to Porter. How old are you? About to get 9 years old. Well, he's officially still 8. Actually, Tuesday. Happy birthday. Hey, Jarvista. You'll be out of time. Come on.
Daddy, look at the day.
Hey, happy birthday, dog.
Daddy, what's in my shoes, baby?
Come on, sweetheart. Say thank you.
Thanks, man.
Y'all come on down this way.
Hey, Ziggy. Daddy, look at my
Hello. Down. Come on around a little bit. Where's Terry at? Come on, birthday boy. Why don't you go over there? Let me back. So what you do? You just come back, fly in, fly out?
I missed her birthday. I was trying to get there, but
I thought you were supposed to be part of the family.
I thought you supposed to be a part of the family. You can't make this ish up. I mean, you really can't make this ish up. I thought you were supposed to be a part of the family. This is sad. Straight sad. Sad, sad day, y'all.
Of 2024, did NAZIYAH live with you?
Yes,
I don't want to know the specific address, but what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And is that in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes, it is.
How long had NAZIYAH been living with you at that address on Bedford?
Oh, wow. Yeah, basically, I mean, ever since I had her. I mean,
Since 2016?
well, we moved to another house.
Okay, when did you move into the Bedford house?
Let me see, 2019, we moved in that house and then moved in the house that I am now, which is still on Bedford.
Okay. And did NAZIYAH make those moves with you?
Yes.
And in January of 2024, at that Bedford location, who else lived there?
Just me, the kids. My other daughter lived with me at the other address. But it was just basically me and my kids and Shannon.
And who is Shannon?
My daughter.
And what's her last name?
Harris.
And she lived with you and NAZIYAH and the other kids at the Bedford location?
At the first Bedford location.
Okay.
Yes.
At that first Bedford location, how many other kids in addition to NAZIYAH lived there?
My other two, my grandson and my other grandchildren.
Okay. So how many kids total in that house?
Let's see. 6. Should have been 6.
And you and Shannon, correct?
Well,
Living there.
Shannon, she was there, but she wasn't really like there all the time.
Okay.
She would spend most majority of her time at my house, but actually Shannon had her place out in Clinton Township.
And when you were there in January of 24, how old was NAZIYAH at that time?
January 24th, she had 13. She had her birthday in September.
And was she going to school?
Yes, she was.
What school did she attend?
J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy.
And is that also in Detroit?
Yes, it is.
Just generally, can you tell us about your morning routine with the kids, specifically NAZIYAH, about getting them to school and things like that?
Sure. Okay. 6 a.m. That's when I get the children up. They usually get up, get dressed, prepare themselves. About 17, basically same prayer and loading up in the car. I'm dropping them off at school at 7:30. Breakfast starts at 7:30, and they like to eat breakfast at school.
And does that include NAZIYAH? You would drop her off at J.E. Clark?
All together, yes.
Now, I want to talk about, let me ask it this way. Did you know someone by the name of Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
And do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
You can't make this ish up. He's sitting right in front of you. He's sitting right in front of you, and that.
If you need to stand up and look around.
I don't see them.
Do you need glasses? Maybe?
Yeah, my
Okay,
daughter has my glasses.
Okay, Judge, may I take a moment to go get her glasses?
Yes.
The judge is making notes that this is some bull-ish. The judge is making notes that this is some bull-ish. Did somebody say funky ass? Did somebody say funky ass?
May I approach witness, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
If you could just stand up and take another look.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you
Yes.
point to him and identify a piece of clothing that he's wearing?
Blue uniform with a blue mask.
For the record, the witness has identified Jarvis Butts, the defendant in this matter.
So reflected.
Jarvis even taking note. He even writing it down.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted as People's 9.
You might say funky ass.
And Ms. Harris, do you recognize the person in that photo?
Yes.
And who is that person?
Jarvis Butts.
And is that the same person you've identified in court here today?
Yes.
And Ms. Harris, how did you know Mr. Butts back in January of 2024?
He's the father of my daughter's children.
And is that daughter Shannon Harris?
Yes.
Okay. How many kids do they have together?
5.
And would he come around your house on Bedford in January or the months leading up to January?
Whenever he did come, he would always pull up in a white truck, and Shannon would go out to the car, and they would sit and talk or whatever. But he would very rarely come in my house.
And during that time when he would come around and sit in his car, was there any times that he would interact with NAZIYAH that you saw?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay.
But we do know of at least 2 times that he did come in when he was painting. He was painting Annette's room, well, allegedly, and Shannon came in and caught him with the door locked. And also, we just saw the video of him at the party. So we know he was up in the house. We know he was in the house. And according to the text messages, he was even in the basement as well. Somebody make this make sense. Can't make this issue.
Now, I want to talk specifically about January 9th. You had described your morning routine with the kids. Did you follow that routine on January 9th?
Yes, I did.
And did that include dropping NAZIYAH off at J.E. Clark 7:15 to 7:30?
Yes.
And can you tell us what she was wearing on January 9th, 2024?
Yes, she was wearing a pair of light powdered blue jeans with a light powdered blue jacket that had the black little fur around the collar.
Now, let me just stop right there so I won't forget. Now, many of you have said, because I asked, I said, well, if she was wearing what Miss Annette said she was wearing, then how could the pink onesie come into play? And many of you have said, well, she could have had the pink onesie on underneath what she was wearing. In my opinion, she wouldn't have had that pink onesie on under some jeans. My opinion. Now, if Miss Annette would have said that she had on some sweatpants, then I could see the onesie being underneath the sweats, because the jeans, it's going to be with that onesie on, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. But let's get back to Miss Annette. I'm going to have to backtrack it, y'all.
She, She was wearing a pair of light powdered blue jeans with a light powdered blue jacket that had the black little fur around the collar. It was like a two-piece set.
And did she have a sweater on or a shirt on or something?
She had a shirt. She wore a shirt underneath it.
So she got on the shirt. She got on the jeans.
She was wearing a pair of light powdered blue jeans
with a light powder blue jacket that had the black little fur around the collar. It was like a two-piece set.
And did she have a sweater on or a shirt on or something?
She had a shirt. She wore a shirt underneath it.
And you remember, did she have any other clothes with her on the 9th when you dropped her off?
She had her little blue sweatshirt with the little hoodie. She had that with her.
And do you know how or when she got that hoodie?
I bought that hoodie for her. I guess it was in the fall sometime.
Naziah's maternal grandmother, correct?
Correct.
You're also her adopted parent, correct?
Correct.
And you said you adopted her in 2016?
Yeah, should have been 16.
Okay. Is her birth mother still around?
She is.
Okay. Does she have a relationship with her?
No.
She doesn't have any type of relationship, no contact with her that you know of?
Well, let me say this. I don't deal with my daughter, so she really didn't have no contact with Naziah like that. She only came around now and then.
Okay. And you testified that you currently stay on Bedford Street?
Yes.
And in fact, I think you testified you lived on 2 houses on Bedford Street.
Correct.
And did Naziah have friends on Bedford Street that you were aware of?
She had friends, but her friends didn't live on Bedford.
Okay. Do you know if she ever had any friends over?
No.
Did she ever spend the night at any of these friends' houses?
No.
And at your prior neighborhood, did she have friends that she may have spent the night over?
No.
You indicated that there are approximately 6 children in the house.
Well, not now. When he asked me about the address,
yes,
I lived at 2 houses, which is on the same street of Bedford.
Okay.
Okay. So the house that we lived in before, it was my children and my daughter's children.
Your daughter being Shannon?
No, Marquita.
Marquita,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And did Naziah have any close relationship with any of these children particularly?
She was close with my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, yeah.
Which granddaughter is that?
Naziah. I mean, Janiyah.
Okay.
All of their names are similar.
Since y'all want to play so much with the tacos, I'm gonna shut all that ish down. How about that? How about that right there? Since y'all want to play so much, right? Take that. Appreciate that cash donation, Yvette. Appreciate that cash donation, Yvette. How about that? I better not see no tacos in my chat. I better not see my favorite word in my chat. Every time I see tacos thrown up in my chat, I'm going to punish you. Okay. Somebody better tell Miss Parker to stop throwing up those tacos. Appreciate you, Y Nick. I see you, Y Nick. Appreciate that cash donation. So y'all better tell Miss Parker stop throwing up them tacos. And y'all bet, there goes sis with the funky air. Okay. As long as y'all say my favorite word and as long as y'all throw them tacos up, I'm going to punish y'all with this. How about that? All right, Yakaya. Okay. I got all night. I got all night. All right. All right. I got all night. Whenever y'all ready, let me know.
And Janiyah is Shannon's daughter?
Yes,
That would be Jarvis's daughter as well, correct?
correct.
And at your Guilford Street address, how many adults live there?
Just me and Shannon.
Okay. When did Shannon move in?
I'm sorry.
When did Shannon move in to Bedford?
Oh, I guess back in last October or something.
That would be October of 23?
Yeah,
So in January of 24, she was there, correct?
mm-hmm.
Sorry, is that a yes?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And you indicated that NAZIYAH participated in social media?
She did participate in social media. She was on social media a lot of times when she wasn't supposed to be.
So did you see her post or did you follow her post?
I didn't see her really posting anything. I mean, at times when I did check, I didn't find anything.
Okay.
And most of the time, if she did post something, my daughter's one would, let me know, if she posted something. Right?
So you don't know who her social media friends were?
The only person that I know that was one of her classmates that she would post little things with one of her little classmates.
Okay. But it's fair to say there are some things you did not know.
Yeah, well, something, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, you indicated that you drove NAZIYAH to school every day, correct?
Correct.
Who else went to school in NAZIYAH?
My other two children, Shannon's children.
Okay. And what type of student was NAZIYAH?
NAZIYAH was a very good student, very mannerable, very outgoing. She got good grades. Her attendance was good. The teachers had no problem with her. They really liked NAZIYAH. NAZIYAH got along with just about anybody. She was very likable.
Did she have any disciplinary problems?
No,
Do you recall her ever getting into a fight?
she did.
One fight, more than one fight?
There was a young lady that she had couple of, consultations with in school. And it was like an ongoing situation.
Okay. And when did this first start?
I'm not
quite sure when it started, but it was like off and on, you know, with this particular schoolmate that she had.
And this is for her current school, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did Naziah participate in any extracurricular activities? Was she on band or anything?
She liked it, gym, robotics, art. I mean, she liked a lot of things that she was, you know, involved in, you know.
And would any of these things cause her to have stayed after school?
The only time she stayed after school is when she wanted to be enrolled in the after school program.
Just one.
Y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all better thank Lady V.
To
Lady V is the only reason why I took them off the screen, because Lady V want to see the judge face. Y'all better thank Lady V.
Correct. Did you ever check her direct messages?
Like I said, I did, but when I did, there was nothing on there.
There was nothing.
No.
Okay. Did you monitor any of her conversations?
Yeah, I would, you know, go check, you know.
Okay.
But like I said, a lot of times, you know, I took Naziah's tablet, you know, from her at one point, you know, so there was really nothing that I knew of that she was on unless she got somebody's cell phone or something, you know.
Okay. So you did mention that she had a tablet. How many devices did she have that allowed her to connect to social media?
She only had that one tablet that I had bought her.
Okay.
And like I said, I took that tablet and put that tablet up.
So on January 9th, you took her to school, correct?
Correct.
And you said it was her and two of your other children that went to school?
My two other children and my daughter's children. I dropped them all off.
And you said that you noticed that she did not come home at her normal time.
Correct.
All right. You did not call the police then, correct?
No. Driving around looking for her. My daughter reached out to some of her classmates. I did nothing. And that morning, I got up. And like I said, I went straight to the school.
But no Jarvis. No Jarvis. And you went the whole night. You don't go the whole night. So you went from 6 p.m. all the way until the next morning. You don't even notify Detroit Police Department. That should have been the first people that you notify. When you got up in the morning and still no glamorous girl, you should have called 911 and reported her missing. You shouldn't even went to sleep, really. But when you got up in the morning, see, there's so many holes in this story. And what if they are the ring? As Mel pointed it out, what if they are the ring? Because the way they move, they get down, is suspect. It's like, for Jarvis, I always resort back to Jarvis. For Jarvis to been able to move the family, the men in the family. I always stress the men in the family. All of the men wasn't SOs. All of them wasn't SOs. But why did they allow Jarvis to move in that family like that. It was like Jarvis is like they handed the babies to Jarvis on a silver platter. He ain't had to work. He ain't had to do nothing. Why? So my question is to everybody, could there be more missing kids involved? I do believe that Annette had other children in her custody. So what's really going on? What's really going on? Every time we backtrack, we discover more things. Now, this case, so there was supposed to have been a conference call, I believe yesterday, the 20th, that got pushed back until August. I gotta say, allegedly, there's some open warrants. Now, the open warrants could be for more charges against Jarvis. Maybe they have found the remains of NAZIYAH. Maybe they have found the baby. Maybe they're going to be charging Jarvis with another homicide. I don't know. But I do know that there is at least one warrant. Now, that warrant can be for any of the family members, you know. But this thing is big. It's real big. It's big. And it's sad because no matter how much we laugh, no matter how much we joke, and we laugh and we joke to try to balance things out over here, the reality of it is NAZIYAH Harris was taken advantage of, and NAZIYAH Harris is missing. In, according to the state of Michigan, they have probable cause to believe that NAZIYAH Harris is no longer alive. And so you just sit back and you say, damn. So for everybody out there that do got a mother and a father that was active in your lives, thank God for your mother and your father. Find it in your heart to, if you and your parents ain't on good terms, find it in your heart to, even if you don't forgive your parents, because most of us, I don't have a mother or a father, and I wish like hell that I had my mom and my dad. But a lot of us hold animosity towards our parents, and our parents done the best that our parents could do. If your parents, see, now when you look at NAZIYAH was failed by her father, her mother. NAZIYAH was failed by her grandmother. So if you got your mother and you got your father, thank God for them if they've been good. They've been good. Pick up a phone tomorrow and tell your mom, hey, Mom, I love you. Pick up the phone and tell your dad, hey, Dad, I love you. Look at what NAZIYAH went through. She ain't had that. What she say to Jarvis? She had to turn to this monster. NAZIYAH had to turn to the monster for comfort. She had to turn to this monster for this monster to get monthly female necessities. Right? She told the monster, I want to live with you. I want to come live with you. She said to the monster, I ain't going to never get out of this hellhole. Picture that. I just don't get it. I just, and according to Annette, she was a good child. Well, if she was so much of a good child, Annette, why didn't you protect her? She should have been protected at all costs. And you didn't protect her.
And from there, I was on my way to police station to make the report, and they called the police from there. DPS police came to the school.
So the first report you made to the police was the next morning?
Yes.
Do you know approximately what time?
School starts at 7:30, so I got there at 7:30. They got there about, I don't know, maybe 8.
So you didn't go to the precinct, you went to the school, and the school called the police?
Yes, they called the police because I was getting ready to leave, and the dean said, "No, stay here." She said, "And we'll call the police."
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you are familiar with Mr. Butts, correct?
I know Mr. Butts.
Okay. And he dated your daughter, Shannon, correct?
Correct.
They did have 5 children, correct?
Correct.
And the children, did all the children stay with you and Shannon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I don't want to give too much detail on the kids. What were the mix of the kids, boys and girls?
Can you repeat that?
What were the mix of the kids, boys and girls?
Well, I have a boy and girl, and Shannon has her 3 boys and her 2 girls.
So she had 3 boys and the 2 girls. Okay. And at any time, now I think you did indicate that Mr. Butts would come over, and I think you said he would rarely come in, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But he would come in on occasion, correct?
Not really on occasions, because most of the time when he came in, he would pull up in my driveway, and my daughter would go out to the truck, and a lot of times the kids would go out to the truck. So it was very rare if he ever came in my house.
Okay. And you indicated that you were close with NAZIYAH?
Yes.
Can you think of any reason that NAZIYAH would not share information with you?
No. NAZIYAH would come to me and talk to me all the time. Okay. If something was bothering her, or if she had a bad day in school, she'll come to me and we'll sit and talk about it. I always kept the door open for communication with NAZIYAH and with really all of my children. So she always felt free, to come to me and sit down and talk to me about whatever.
So if something was frustrating NAZIYAH, she would come with you?
She would, that I know of, yes.
All right. If something was scaring NAZIYAH, she would come to you?
If something was bothering her, or she was frustrated about something, she'll come to me and say, "Hey, Nana, can I talk to you?"
If there was any medical condition, she would come to you regarding that?
I believe she would, yes.
Well, that's a lie, because she went to the monster. So that's another lie from Annette. You can't make this ish up. Lying under oath, just sitting up there, just lying for no reason. I'm coming, y'all. Bear with me. Appreciate that PayPal. You know who it is. You know who it is that sent me the PayPal. Appreciate that. Let's see. You can't make this ish up.
16th. I have spent decades of my career looking at pictures of murdered people. When I was trying homicide cases for 6 straight years, and as an assistant prosecutor, I would spend hours thinking about the victim whose case I was getting ready to try, wondering how they spent their last weeks, their last days, their last hours, and their last minutes of their lives. What were they thinking about? Did they know that the end was near? And if it was someone they knew, what must they have been thinking as they were shot, stabbed, or whatever mechanism of death was used and confronted them with by the person they knew or loved? I can't imagine the thought that goes through minds. But it's always, always 1,000 times worse when the person is a child or a baby, someone in the dawn of their lives who haven't begun to live their lives. The picture behind me is of NAZIYAH, and that will always be haunting because it was taken just a short time before the evidence shows that she was never seen or heard from again. It was taken by NAZIYAH herself, a selfie. That's the last known picture that we know about of her. And it was pointed out to me by one of the detectives on this case and by one of the prosecutors. She is smiling, waving, saying hello. But little did she know that she was really saying goodbye. We will provide to you later a very skeleton timeline of the time right before her death, before and after. Of course, the detail would be provided in court. The evidence shows overwhelmingly in this case that she is in fact deceased. The last time she was seen alive was January the 9th of this year, 2024, almost 9 months ago. Her missing status was reported to the Detroit Public School Police Department by her grandmother on that very day when she never returned home from school. And again, that was January the 9th of 2024. In early February of 2024, the case was turned over to the Detroit Police Department. Frankly, that should have happened right away, but they began investigating immediately. The evidence would further show that through text messages that we know and that we have, NAZIYAH and this defendant were going to meet after school on January the 9th. We know that she did indeed meet up with the defendant that we're charging in this case. We also know that several people close to Mr. Butts, who we were charging later, saw them together in several different locations, people that he knew well. We have evidence that at 9:30 p.m. on that day, that Mr. Butts checked into a motel and the NAZIYAH was never seen or heard from again. Not from her family, not from her schoolmates, not from her friends, not from social media where she was extremely active with her friends, not from teachers, no one. We know that she had no medical conditions that would cause a life-threatening medical emergency to her. And he, again, was the last person that saw her alive. She would have turned 14 years old just 10 days ago on September the 16th of 2024. And again, no one has seen or heard from her. You look at that face and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the sexual abuse, and the pregnancy that she was concealing. The evidence will show that from one of her text messages to and with Jarvis Butts. And we also know, the evidence will show, that there's no evidence of anyone else being the father of that child, other than the defendant himself, who we charged today. And he knew she was pregnant. We know that he was also searching for ways to abort the baby. We know that sexually explicit photos were requested by him of her and that she complied and sent them to her. All at the hands, we allege, the man we are charging with her death and also her long-term sexual abuse. In our warrant review process that Matt and Tina and others put together, excellent work on that. Video of 111 gigabytes, witnesses and witness statements, body-worn camera, and let me not forget, it was Tina and Matt's memo, but the work of the Detroit Police Department. Anyway, we reviewed 111 gigabytes of video, witnesses and witness statements, body-worn camera footage, surveillance video, police reports, documents, 19 gigabytes, medical records, search warrant returns, phone extractions, which came to 506 gigabytes. Today, we are charging Jarvis Butts with 1 count of first-degree premeditated murder, 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, and 1 count of child sexually abusive material. Today, we are also charging Mr. Butts with more counts of criminal sexual conduct on 2 more girls, yes, girls, on 2 other separate cases.
Let me let it ride out, because once again, we know that NAZIYAH wasn't the only one. There were other family members. Now, and that's why I titled this, Could It Be More Kids Involved? Not meaning more kids in the family, but outside kids. You know, how far does Jarvis's, let's just start with Jarvis. How far does Jarvis crimes stretch? Could he had inappropriately touched some of the girls that he dealt with? Could he inappropriately touch kids in the neighborhood? All these missing children that were reported in Michigan, could Jarvis have inappropriately touched them? And now we take it further than Jarvis. This ring that's going on, could it be a part of it? Could it, you know, could all of this be mixed up? And then you have to also really take and really look at this, like, all these babies, where are these babies? And for those that used to say to me, Shank, I still believe that NAZIYAH is still alive. Drop a 6 if any of y'all feel like NAZIYAH still could be alive. Drop a 7 if you're convinced that she's no longer here. Now, for those that believe that NAZIYAH is still alive, you know, I can honestly say I can understand, because you know, even when we had the evangelist, you know, he did say that NAZIYAH is a smart child. NAZIYAH, you know, could have outsmarted them. Who knows? And at the time, I was like, I don't really see a child of her age, you know, but we were all young once upon a time, and we were street smart. You know, we was thinking on a higher level. So it's a strong possibility, you know, that maybe she is still alive. You know, I'll keep that on the table. But where can she be? And that's a good question, Candy. If she is alive, where could she be at? Or could they had sold her? You know? But then when we listen to the judge in this case, and when we listen to Kimberly, when we listen to Kim, she's stating, and even though they haven't released too much information, but they could have information, they could have evidence that she's no longer here. But in my opinion, I think that there are more missing kids involved in this. I don't believe that NAZIYAH is the only one. I don't believe she was the first one. I don't. Because even when I show y'all the pictures, and even when us content creators take a deep dive into this, it's deep. It's really deep. Let's look at Miss Annette, the 40 years of CPS. Annette been going through this for 40 years. Who's behind Annette? She got to have some people that's on her team in order for the things that she done to get pulled off. And like I said, the evangelist spoke on NAZIYAH still being alive. Some people don't believe nothing that the evangelist said. Some people believe some of the things that he said. Let me jump down to my chat. Where she is not. 7, there's evidence we haven't heard yet. He did it to his daughter. Yes, I'm with you on that one. This was not the first time a child disappeared from that house. Kim Worthless. I thought that too at one point and hoping it may be true. I feel they trying to redirect off her and trying to bring up the bigger picture. They really ain't worried because it's bigger, that this is terrible. So something bigger is very deep. The only thing that's going to come in between me believing that NAZIYAH is not here on earth is NAZIYAH body herself. They all nasty. Shankrock, do you understand the presence of life connection and with the universe? Yes, yes, yes. I'm with you, Manifest. Just like people that commit crimes and go on the run, you need money. She's a kid. If she's alive, who's funding her? Definitely 7. I don't believe nothing Evangelist Cherry Blossom say. She has the Congress people and the police officers on her side, the same ones she's pimped them kids out to. Me neither, Shank. All these women and no one could tell anything was happening to this girl. Like Annette, you didn't even bother to check to make sure she had the woman's monthly necessity. That's I know for women, that's like a major part of, so you being her grandmother, she being a little kid, that didn't concern you, Annette? 6, yes, I believe she did outsmart them when she found out she was pregnant. She knew Shannon got 2 kids that isn't hers. She knew that they were going to take her baby. She got out of there. And that's a good point, Wanda. Evangelist is a liar. I wonder if they will look for the kids that supposedly ran away from Annette's house. Facts, Bridget. Facts. Or what if whoever gave her that home abortion mess, she went into labor and the blood on her clothes was cause of birth and cause she's so young she passed during delivery. We thought about that a few times before, Unique. That's a good point, Unique. Even some grown women pass out during birth. That's true. That's true. That's true. I wonder what Annette and Shannon think about the text messages between NAZIYAH and Jarvis. Good point. Shank, it's Evangela. And that was supposed to protect this baby, especially knowing she endured bad things in her life from family. That's facts, Taj. That's facts. Like, dang. All these women, no one took her to the doctors. And that's sad. That's sad that she had to resort to the monster. And y'all seen the video of the picture, of the birthday party, the video how Annette broke her neck to get the Jarvis. You can't be doing this. I thought we was family. Where they do that at? Here go Red. But I look, cause salute Red. Y'all better let Red know, because Red just pulling up. So she don't know that I put y'all on punishment when y'all say my favorite word. But y'all better let Red know not to say my favorite word, or I'm gonna put y'all on punishment. Salute, Red. Vari was teaching NAZIYAH the street life. That's a good point, Kenyatta. Vari, because he ran away a few times. Kenyatta says, in my opinion. NAZIYAH didn't have a chance in life, and that's so sad. She walked around people like she was invisible. And that's sad, y'all. That's sad. It's sad to say, but the fight give a damn about those kids. Only checks and EBT only matter to them. Exactly. Like for us, we adults and we be around people that don't like us, you know, but for a little kid, for a little girl to be amongst her family, amongst the people that should love her, and amongst the people that's supposed to love her. Like that's why I'm saying, like, if you got parents, if you got, because some of us expect so much from our parents, but our parents can only do so much. But just imagine if you had parents like NAZIYAH that just didn't give a damn about her straight across the board. Her father ain't care about her. Her mother ain't care about her. Nobody can convince me that her mother cared about her. You can't convince me that lady cared about her. I understand the drug. I understand that. But there are plenty of mothers and fathers that got off drugs for the sake of their children because they cared about their children. But you got this little girl, nobody cared about her. You know, now you got the monster. Many of us believe that the monster cared about her, but you got this monster that steps in, right? And so for us, like I said, you know, we laugh, we joke, we have fun to balance things out, but you keep coming back. Like every time I laugh, every time I joke, I keep coming back to the reality of the way that this little girl was treated. Like, you know what I mean? Like, then, you know, with this dude right here, like, look at the video. You know, he drinking a beer. Yo drinking a beer. Look at him up on the little girl, man. But like it's nothing. Like yo, like it's nothing. Somebody gotta make this make sense to me. It's like I can't. Don't you? It's so much. What if that's her father? You know what I mean? Like, because you hear so much. I wasn't gonna cover it no more, y'all. I wasn't. As y'all can see, I switched lanes to, but it just is like it just be like, man, it's just sad, man. It's sad, man. Seriously. It's sad. I don't really like feeling like this too tough, man, because I get to ranting and cussing and, you know what I mean? But it's just sad, man. It's just sad.
The girls in question now are 20 and 11 respectively today, but both were under the age of 13 years old at the time the offenses occurred that we're charging. We are charging that one victim who is now 20 years old, that from April of 2012 to April of 2014, it's alleged that defendant Buck sexually assaulted the victim at a residence in Detroit. Further facts and evidence on that matter will be placed on the record at the preliminary examination. In that case, we charge Mr. Butts with criminal sexual conduct, 1 count in the first degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older. In that case, we are also charging Mr. Butts with 3 counts of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, person under 13, defendant 17 years or older. In the second criminal sexual conduct case, well, I guess the third that we're charging today, we are alleging that the victim, who is now 13 years old, that from July 2015 through July 2017, we're alleging that he sexually assaulted residents in Detroit. And again, further facts and evidence will be developed at the preliminary examination. Defendant Butts have been charged with, in that case, 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree. Child under the age of 13, Mr. Butts over the age of 17. Based on all the evidence that I've laid out now and much more that will be shown later in court, based on all these cases we will present in court, Mr. Butts targeted and befriended women who had to have sexual relationships with their young daughters. He would have relationships with their mothers, but his true desire was to have sex with their young daughters. That's what the evidence will show. He was a classic and expert groomer and pedophile. It's incredibly sad, incredibly unspeakable, and we want to bring justice to her and her family. I have to take this moment to say something to you. And this is not directed at all at NAZIYAH's family, who by all accounts had many in her family that truly loved her. This is directed to everyone else listening to me now. We must be very careful who we let into our hearts and our homes and our lives, especially if you have children. We must be very careful who we have around our children and elders respectively. We must also be very careful who we leave our children with, even if they are in a relationship partners, family, and friends. I'll say that again, even if they are relationship partners, families, or friends. Life can be hard enough at times, but when it comes to our children, we must be deliberative, we must be diligent, and laser focused on their safety. And sometimes we must make decisions about them and their lives that we may not like and that they may not like, but it's for the betterment of them and their safety and their future. When something doesn't feel right, even if it's just that voice in your head, it usually isn't right. And sometimes when we are attentive and we do everything right by our children, things can still happen and still go very wrong despite our best efforts. This can happen to good watchers of children. But we must always ask ourselves at the end of each and every day, was I right by each member of my household in terms of their safety? Did I do right by my children? Now, of course, Mr. Butts is presumed innocent unless and until he's found guilty on each and every crime and count that we have charged today. We have been told this morning that the arraignment will be tomorrow, we think at 10:30 a.m. in the morning, but we don't have confirmation of that yet. With their young daughters. That's what the evidence will show. Thank you all for coming today. I want to start out this morning by introducing those that stand with me. To my far right, left, and your right, and who you are.
Matthew Makepeace with the SVU unit at Wayne County Prosecutors.
Tina Ripley with the SVU unit at Wayne County Prosecutor's Office.
Matt and Tina will be trying the case.
And good morning, Louisa Papelis. I'm also with the Special Victims Unit, the Deputy Chief.
And good morning, Kelly Gleason. I'm the Chief of the Special Victims Unit.
Good morning, Chief White.
Good morning, Lieutenant Amber Roberson, Homicide Missing Person.
Sergeant Shannon Jones, Homicide Missing Person.
I have spent decades of my career looking at pictures of murdered people. When I was trying homicide cases for 6 straight years, laser focused on their safety. And sometimes we must make decisions about them and their lives that we may not like and that they may not like, but it's for the betterment of them and their safety and their future. When something doesn't feel right, even if it's just that voice in your head, it usually isn't right. And sometimes when we are attentive and we do everything right by our children, things can still happen and still go very wrong despite our best efforts. This can happen to good watchers of children. But we must always ask ourselves at the end of each and every day, was I right by each member of my household in terms of their safety? Did I do right by my children? Now, of course, Mr. Butts is presumed innocent unless and until he's found guilty on each and every crime and count that we have charged today. We have been told this morning that the arraignment will be tomorrow, we think at 10:30 a.m. in the morning, but we don't have confirmation of that yet. But the arraignment, we are told, will happen tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Chief. I'll switch places with you.
Good morning. This is one of the most difficult cases that I have been a part of, and I'm just so very thankful to the detectives and the investigators in homicide. The tragedies that happened to this little girl touches each and every one of us, and unfortunately, she lost her life at the hands of someone who should have been concerned about her safety. I just want to take a couple moments and thank Madam Prosecutor and her team for the amazing work, the commitment, the hours that they put into this work. I want to thank our major crimes, missing persons, homicide, specifically Sergeant Jones and Lieutenant Amber Roberson. When I tell you the days and hours and the tenacity that they put into this work, it's not often that I'm not surprised by our officers, but when I saw the work and the hours and the time that they put in there, I was absolutely in awe at my weekly briefings and the time that they put into this case. It is not an 8-hour-a-day job. It is it ends when they have to get a couple hours of sleep. And I will tell you, with all the other things going on, this case was always top of mind. Certainly want to thank DPS for their assistance in transferring over some of the information that we were able to get from them with this case. There were a number of people, our community in particular, even our Border Police Commissioner, Tamara Liberty Smith, who was out knocking on doors and passing out flyers, all with the desire to bring this little girl home to her family. Quickly, as the investigation unfolded, the officers realized that was going to be very difficult. Without going into great detail, I will tell you, as the prosecutors indicated, hours and hours and many gigabytes of information and phone records and knocking on doors and pulling video went into this investigation. And sadly, we find ourselves where we are now. But if there's any solace in any of this, is that we take a lesson from this. We make strong and good decisions for our children, keep them out of harm's way. We are not pointing out anything that someone did wrong. We just want to make sure people do a lot more things right. And again, Madam Prosecutor, thank you and your team for the work.
All right, the Chief and I will take a few questions, if you have any.
I have one. How did Jarvis Butts have access to NAZIYAH?
He knew some of their family members, some of her family members.
Can you talk about the time frame when you mentioned grooming? Are you able to elaborate at all over how long of a period of time he may have quote unquote groomed or knew her? Or
all I can and will say at this point that it started in 2022.
So just for accuracy, this little girl's remains have never been found?
No.
Is there a thought with
Her body has never been found.
any thought of where she may be?
Well, if we knew that, we would certainly have a case that we weren't trying. We were trying without a body.
We ask this, can you say what triggered charges now?
Again, there's an incredible amount of material. And one of the reasons why lately I've been giving out amounts of material that we've been going through, because I think people sometimes just do not get it or understand about all the work that it takes by the investigators and by the prosecutors to put a case like this together. Whenever you have a case like this, where there has been no body found, it makes it more difficult and much more investigation must be done because we have to be able to prove that the person is deceased.
Are you able to say how long this suspect was on your radar or when you really started locking in on him?
No, by law, I can't really comment on that because that would leave me in a place where I can't talk about right now.
Could things have
maybe moved forward a little faster if the school police had got with Detroit police right away?
Yes.
Can you talk a little more about?
No, I better not. I have strong opinions there.
You added to that the evidence, however, suggests that NAZIYAH Harris is dead, correct?
We are going to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she's dead, as we must do by law.
You can't say why.
Because no one's seen her, no friends, no family, no teachers, no medical conditions. Even on her birthday, 10 days ago, she contacted no one. This was a child that never missed school, but the school hasn't seen or heard from at all again. This is a young girl who was very active on social media, and crickets, nothing.
So they're basing it off of, and I'm sure y'all heard the same thing that I heard from Kim Worthy. They're basing it off of nobody has seen her. No social media, no nothing. Is that enough? You know, now I don't know. But according to Kim, that's what they're basing it off of. Let me find out they really have no evidence. And that's what many of us has been saying. And you just heard it, and I'll backtrack it. But that's what they're basing it off of. This Kim Worthless only care about a conviction. Another one for her. She don't care about nothing else. All these kids and nobody noticed one. At least that's what they telling us. So what evidence do they got? Like, and they did show us exhibit. How many exhibits did they show us? The pink onesie, the Nike tennis shoe, the black hoodie. So that's the evidence. And see, this is what I'm saying as far as in these cases. Now, in the feds, it's different. But in the state case, at that preliminary, they got to bring that evidence. Erlene says maybe NAZIYAH with Lady and her brother. Mika, they knew, just didn't care. I see Animo. And she has daughters around NAZIYAH age. So sad. Exactly, Clarice. I doubt they have anything. This is small case. They don't got nothing. And those are none of the clothes she had on. All they got is what they showed, what they produced at that preliminary hearing. That's the Nike tennis shoes, the pink onesie, the hoodie with the holes, Jarvis's Google search engine, the deleted text messages. That's all they got. I thought as mother who knows the pain of loss, she will fight more. Exactly. I pray for all the babies in that area because how they don't know nothing. Like no one's safe at this point and no one cares. She didn't have none of that ish on. Exactly. Black Diamonds pop out Toot blue cheese. Shout out to Black Diamonds and Toot that blue cheese. Make sure y'all go check it out. Make sure y'all subscribe to Toot. I don't got no moderators to drop Toot's link in the chat, but make sure y'all subscribe to Toot. Make sure y'all subscribe to Black Diamonds, that blue cheese. Run them numbers up on that video. That song and that video is hot. Once again, a big shout out to Toot, Black Diamonds, blue cheese. The evidence shows that he has been with her. Right. They got him on the inappropriate touching. And I got to use that for YouTube reasons. But y'all know what I'm saying. They definitely got Jarvis on inappropriate touching her. You know, and what they get from the content creators doing the work for them. Exactly. See, now I'm back hoping, dang, maybe she alive. Because, like, come on, if she unalive, why would they leave the clothes in open area like that with nobody? That's what I've been saying, Unique. Listen, y'all, whoever it is that's behind this, they took the necessary steps to make sure that there's nobody. Now, why would they leave the clothes behind with potential evidence, DNA? No, why would they leave those clothes behind? Nobody? if they went that far, if they knew to get rid of that body, they knew to get rid of all evidence. Now, in these cases, maybe something small they may have left behind, but a hoodie, a onesie, and shoes, and out in the opening, I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it. I think all that stuff on, she might have went missing before they say she was missing. I think so too, Jay. He only got clothes because he already said that he stole her panties. Why not get rid of the clothes with the body? It makes you think they want us to think she unalive, but she alive. Exactly, Unique. Yes, they got him. They just got to everyone else. No DNA, I don't understand. Period, Unique. I know this is off topic, but regards to Miss Parker live earlier, anyone else remember the white or silver Chrysler Pacific, I can't pronounce that, in the Google Maps video at the hotel when U-Haul truck and the girl walking? I have to check into that, right, Shank? It seems that they went to great lengths to make it look as if she is no longer here. Facts. They're trying to cover the whole organization going on that baby. Having a baby is more money. They all crazy. Police too seriously.
Since January the 9th of 2024.
Anything from the defendant?
And we have other things too that will come out in court.
Any cooperation at all or utterances, statements from the defendant?
I can't get into that.
Without being able to speak in detail, I'm sure, do you have any evidence to indicate manner and location of death or where this might have occurred?
No, because we can't do that unless we have a body.
Mr. Butts is currently facing charges being prosecuted by your office. Can you talk additional charges before these? Can you talk about those at all?
He is, and we next appear in court on Monday, January 30th.
Have there been any other arrests made in this case?
I don't think so.
We just saw.
What do you mean you don't think so? Well, she had to look at him and say, I don't think so. Come on now. Toot did a video on it. Once again, make sure y'all go check out Toot if y'all haven't already checked her out. She had to turn to my man and ask my man. I don't think so. Come on, Kim. How many of the 8 women clothes he got but hers? Especially if word on the streets is Jarvis knows someone like Frank, she could be hiding out in the country or whoever he knows. Good point. Shannon did that with them clothes because she seen NAZIYAH dancing with the panties in her pocket from when she checked the tablet. Yes, the Lord do not like ugly. She too irrational for me, like sick of her and whole police force. I pray hard. She didn't know crack. Man, Detroit moving like they the mafia. They're not going to start the trial without the body. They will keep pushing the date back. They did my cousin like that, kept him until the body showed up and my cousin knew where the body was. Appreciate you for letting us know that.
An unfounded rumor that there were family members arrested. Didn't know if you could squash that or confirm that.
It's an unfounded rumor. It's not true.
Thank you.
Do you have an idea of how long NAZIYAH may have been being molested?
Again, the sexual abuse began based on the evidence that we have in 2022. Or at least the grooming began in 2022.
Are you able to say how far along she was on her pregnancy?
We don't know because we don't have a body.
I have a question for Chief Witt just about missing children just broadly. When these types of cases happen, obviously we get the reports all the time. Can you talk about what you think didn't work in this case? In terms of like maybe the seriousness that was considered when she first went missing and it was reported to BPSD, CD, and you guys?
I would much rather have had the case earlier. I don't know if the outcome would have been any different based on some of the things we've learned in the course of the investigation, but we may have had an opportunity to recover even more evidence. But we're pretty confident that the evidence that we have is strong. We know it is, in fact. But you can never have enough evidence. So if there's anything that could have gone a little bit better with regards to the first time that we were brought in, I would have wanted to be brought in much earlier for that reason.
Just some background on Jarvis Butts. What's his age and is he from Detroit?
He's 41 years old, from Highland Park, I believe.
Yeah.
And Chief, as soon as you guys got word of this, you guys were out immediately, right? I think you were even out searching. You guys set up command posts.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, we took over the case after we were briefed. We took charge of the case, and our teams got engaged in it immediately and hit the ground running, and didn't look back.
Can you talk about, Chief White or maybe Sergeant Jones, the NAZIYAH case in connection to the other missing young people, girls, children, like what your workload looks like, how you balance those cases and are able to, the numbers of youth that are missing right now?
Yeah, well, we make that public. We put it on our social media pages. There's a number of misinformation, misconceptions about missings. Oftentimes what we have is kids that run away for a day or two. They have a way of investigating these cases. They know the ones that routine runaways, if you will. They still look, they still go out, but there's ways to do it. Going to the school, social media with kids, it's a big benefit to us for our investigations. And they also know when they become serious missings. All missings are serious, but internally there's a title that it has been elevated to a serious missing, and that involves a lot more work and connection with the family. Each time we get a call, we go out to the home, regardless of whether or not it's a person who has run away or a routine runaway or serious missing. We check the home. We have found kids in the home hiding. So it's really complex, and we'll take its own news conference to explain it. I will tell you this, they do a very good job. We've got thousands of kids this year that have been returned home, many of which were runaways. So we don't have a condition where kids are being picked up on the street and kidnapped. We did have an incident a couple of years ago where that happened, and the prosecutor charged that person. In fact, it was just recently convicted. So it's a lot that goes into it. We'd be more than happy to sit down and explain our process with you if you want to do something on an aside.
Miss Annette messed the case up. She knew what she was doing. Miss Annette knew what she was doing. She messed the case up. She messed it up. How you got a missing grandchild, a missing 12-year-old, 11-year-old? You go to sleep all night without her returning home. Then you get up in the morning. You don't call 911. You go to the school. What was the purpose of you going to the school? I'm going to run a little bit of this last clip, and then we're going to get out of here, y'all. Give me 1 second.
Car insurance used to stress me out.
You don't need to stress out about car insurance. You just go to Insurify.
They can help you save money.
Good afternoon, I'm Rochelle Graham. We want to get you out to some developing news right now. Detroit Police Chief James White is holding a press conference on a missing 13-year-old girl who hasn't been seen since January 9th. This update coming from Shoemaker and Garland. We hope to learn if there's significance to this location and the investigation. It just started. Let's listen in.
That's fine.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I want to just start off before I bring up Chief Jackson from our Detroit Public Schools Police Department into what brought us here today. On February 12th, we had a briefing on this missing child. Yesterday, we had a much more comprehensive and detailed meeting where he brought forth a number of different factors as to what occurred and what they have been working on. We left that meeting with some very serious concerns about NAZIYAH's safety, and I'll bring up Chief Jackson at this time to give you an overview, and I'll be coming back up to talk about the details. Chief Jackson.
Good afternoon. Back on January 9th, we believe Miss NAZIYAH Harris did not return home from school. She was a student at Clark Elementary. January 10th, her family went about the process of reporting her missing. we began our investigation at that point. We began working back, following through her on her last known steps, possible person she was in contact with, some of her school-age friends, gathering different information. As we began to work back through that information with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners, information that we obtained has led us to this point here. At that point, we reached out to Chief White to let him know the developments that we had. And so at that point, we decided that this investigation had kind of gone past the four walls of our building, and Chief White stepped in to help us out. Chief White.
All right, thank you, Chief. So again, after our meeting yesterday, we were very, very concerned. I made the decision at that time that we will take lead on this investigation. We'll be bringing in our local, federal, state partners, a very concerned community, our Board of Police Commissioners, our civic leaders, every single person to assist us in bringing little NAZIYAH home. That's the goal here, is to do everything we can to bring her home. You know, we have debriefed on a number of different factors. We're hopeful that we find her well, but you know, we can't operate on hope. We have to operate on information, investigation, and work. And that's what we're here to do today with this incredible show of force that we have at this time. I will bring up Deputy Chief Carrie Sloan to talk a little bit about some of the aspects of the investigation at this time. But I will tell you that it is still early in the investigation on our part. Although DPS has done a number of different things, we are now doing a number of different things. We are actually, in fact, repeating some things to lay eyes on exactly what aspects of the investigation that we want to have some firsthand information on. So she's not going to be able to provide you granular detail at this time, but we'll just give you an overview and highlight some of the things that we're going to be doing. DC?
Good afternoon. Deputy Chief Carrie Sloan, the Detective Bureau. First, we would like to express our deep concern for the welfare and safety of 13-year-old NAZIYAH Harris, who has been missing since January 9th. I would like to ensure NAZIYAH's family that DPD intends to utilize every possible resource that we have to bring her home safely. As the Chief mentioned, we are currently working with our local, federal, and state partners to establish exactly what occurred in this situation. At this point in the investigation, we are aggressively searching for NAZIYAH and examining every piece of evidence to understand what transpired. We are in the process of re-examining and re-interviewing all witnesses and anyone with any possible information that can assist us in this investigation. DPD is committed to working this case until we locate NAZIYAH, and we are asking the community for their help and anyone that has any information to reach out to the Detroit Police Department.
Ever wondered what your home looks like from space? Enter your address and get a 360-degree satellite view of.
I want to thank the Detroit Police Department and the Detroit Public Schools Police Department, those two chiefs, for working together in a unified manner. I stand here in full support of this department in finding our little precious child. And I ask everybody in this community to come together and rally with this department so that we can be able to find our young sister safely, prayerfully. And it is my goal to do everything in my power and within my sphere of influence to be able to work with the chief and this department to ask the clergy, ask every community person out here, all the block clubs, come out for this baby. I plead with you. And I'll say, if you are holding this young child, I ask you to please find in your heart to let her go. And if anybody have any information regarding this situation, please contact the Detroit Police Department. And I'm just here on faith and making a commitment myself. If anybody have any credible information, that I will add $1,000 to any type of support to be able to find this young baby, because that means that much to me for this baby. I have a daughter. All of us have children, and this child need our help. And please turn the information over to the Detroit Police Department as soon as possible.
One more right behind you, Chief. And then Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Smith, yes.
Yes, good afternoon. I stand here in support today with the Detroit Police Department as well as the Detroit Public School Department. We're today in unity in hopes that we find this child safely. I'm just conveying the message that it is against the law to harbor a child. If someone is harboring her or keeping her against her will, please let her go. If any children or friends or neighbors or anyone who've seen her, please speak up. It is extremely important, and we are very concerned. The community is very concerned for the safety of her return. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chief, sir, one more,
The mom.
the mother, yeah,
Okay.
grandmother, right?
Um, I'm asking anyone that knows anything about my granddaughter, please contact the police department. She's been missing for a very long time. NAZIYAH is a very sweet child. This is not of her character. We've been looking for her. We've been passing out flyers. We've been calling people. We've been knocking on doors. We have done some of everything. And we're asking anybody that has any information, I don't care who it is, please come forth, contact the police department. Her life could be in danger. Please.
Let now you want to say her life could be in danger, but this is 30 days later, and that
Call the police department. I want my baby home. And
how many of y'all can see right through this bullish? Drop a one. Drop a one if y'all can see right through this bullish.
I'm asking in the name of Jesus, and I stand on my faith that he's going to bring her home. But if we all can come together and help find her, I'm telling you, we can make a difference. She's been missing. She's been gone too long. I can't sleep. I can't eat. Just
Her funky ass. Let me let this shit finish playing out with her funky ass.
bring her home, please. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Just one more, Chief, one more community minister. Thank you.
I would like to say that this is serious. As we can see, it's not just about the police, it's about the community. This really touches home with our grandchildren and our children and friends and family in the neighborhood. So some people may think it's all about the police. It's all about the community working in coalition together. Somebody has seen this young child and just overlooked it and thought it was business as usual, but we want it to be known that this is unusual business, and anything that we can do to reach out, get the information over to the authorities so that we can bring the baby home safe, we would love your support in that respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions now, Chief. Chief. Can you give us the specific timeline again about when she went missing, how long it took for the family to notify, and what efforts were taken in that time frame? But I'm more interested in the time frame off the top.
Yeah, I think it'd be most appropriate to have Chief Jackson do that part, and then I'll come in and talk about when we took over the case. Chief Jackson.
Yeah, so she was, it looks like she may have went missing on January 9th. It was reported to us on January 10th. At that point, we began preliminary investigation, speaking with school age friends, looking through her social media aspects, trying to retrace her steps, look who she may have been in contact with.
So once we started processing through that information, different leads developed. We began running down those leads. We contacted our local, state, federal partners, U.S. Marshals, FBI, some of our task force partners, even some of the private sector, missing and exploited children, all brought in to assist us in the search for NAZIYAH. So as we begin to work through that information, again, that investigation expand, more information developed, and that's when we reach back out to DPD, and here we are.
Obviously, you think if there's some sort of foul play here, we wouldn't be doing a grid search. So help us with what it is you can tell us about that.
We're not ruling anything out at this point. Just based off the information that we had, let us hear. We're running down every avenue. We don't make assumptions. You know, we can't speak to anything that we don't know. Only the information that we have, and that's what we're working through.
Are you going to be searching in this area?
It's going to take us here, outside of this community. Any information as things develop, you know, we could be coming to a community outside of Wayne County. So just as those leads develop, we'll follow them up.
Will there be just one search today, or will it be more than one?
There'll be multiple searches.
Can you say where?
No, not at this time.
Can you talk about what is involved in a grid search? Are you knocking on doors where you can...
Yes. Simple answer to that is yes. It includes speaking with people in the community, business, following up at businesses, canvases, handing out flyers. All of those things are part of a grid search.
Can you say what might have led you here, and how far away from here does the travel live?
Just based off the information, this is some of the information that was developed that led us here. So not to get into some of the intricacies of the investigation, but some of the information that we had led us here.
Okay, she goes to a school. How far is the school from here?
Several miles, perhaps.
And is there any reason to believe that she would come here other than on her way to school?
Again, we don't know NAZIYAH, her comings and goings, other than the information that we had developed at that point.
Are there any suspects at this point?
No, not at this time.
Do you have any reason to believe that she was abducted against her will, or had she gone with somebody willing?
Initially, no, we don't believe that initially there was an abduction. We do not believe that.
Do you think that she went with someone?
Again, that information that we have, we're processing through all that information. As Chief White said, we're re-interviewing a lot of the people that we've already spoken to, just to get as much information, concrete information as we can.
And does anybody in the school have an understanding? In other words, can we say who it was that last saw her physically?
The information that we have, some of her friends, some of her classmates were some of the last to have spoken with her.
Did they see her like leaving school?
Yeah, we know that she physically left the school.
Okay, and once again, it's early in the investigation. We're just going to close it right now. For questions regarding this, separate questions, we'll go. We have just one more question.
Has she been seen in any other, reported in any other community?
We don't have any information to give us that at this time, no.
Okay, thank you so much. And everybody else, Chief, if you can just stand by for separate questions for this. Thank you all. And I know we're going to just stand by for me, okay? All right, everybody.
I appreciate everybody for pulling up. I'm going to run the funky ass tears. I'm gonna let y'all see these funky ass tears.
We have
Salute everybody. I will leave the chat running, and I'll see everybody back tomorrow. I'm gonna let this part play with her funky ass tears, y'all. Salute everybody.
I'm asking anyone that knows anything about my granddaughter, please contact the police department. She's been missing for a very long time. NAZIYAH is a very sweet child. This is not of her character. We've been looking for her. We've been passing out flyers. We've been calling people. We've been knocking on doors. We have done some of everything. And we're asking anybody that has any information, I don't care who it is, please come forth, contact the police department. Her life could be in danger. Please call the police department. I want my baby home. And I'm asking in the name of Jesus, and I stand on my faith that he's going to bring her home. But if we all can come together and help find her, I'm telling you, we can make a difference. She's been missing. She's been gone too long. I can't sleep. I can't eat. Just bring her home, please. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you.
In Wayne County, where Jarvis Butts, the man charged with sexually assaulting and killing 13-year-old NAZIYAH Harris, was back in court today. Our Jordan Burroughs was inside the courtroom and joins us now with a recap of today's proceedings.
Today at the Wayne County Criminal Justice Center, Judge Nicholas Hathaway laid out dates in the Jarvis Butts case. Butts is accused of murdering 13-year-old NAZIYAH Harris last year. His jury selection is scheduled to start October 6th. Jarvis Butts was in court Friday to hear Judge Nicholas Hathaway decide key dates in his trial. The defense and prosecution both agreed on the dates as they await the full transcript to be typed out so they can read it over. Butts was previously in court January 17th for a hearing where he entered a not guilty plea. At that hearing, just like Friday's, NAZIYAH Harris's family and friends were present. Butts, 42 years old, of Detroit, is charged with first-degree premeditated murder, second-degree criminal sexual conduct, and child sexually abusive activity. Butts is also accused of having an inappropriate relationship with NAZIYAH. She was last seen getting off her school bus at the corner of Cornwall and 3 Mile Drive in Detroit on January 9th of last year. Her body has not been found. As jury selection starts October 6th, the prosecution said it could call 40 or more witnesses to the stand, and the defense said it could call 10 or more. It's a trial that could take 3 to 4 weeks.
I'm hopeful that you're going to have that transcript here, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Obviously, with that trial date being in October, we had some time to work with. But I'd like to see you all again for final conference.
Today's calendar conference also laid out another key date, which includes the last conference. That will be on Friday, June 20th. Reporting from the Wayne County Criminal Justice Center, Jordan Burroughs, CBS News, Detroit.